With the days getting longer and the sun starting to shine, UMass Boston Baseball has returned to Monin Park. The Beacons have established themselves as a top team in New England, year in and year out.
Lopez up with it. He goes to second for the 27th out. And 7 years later, UMass Boston is going back to Appleton, Wisconsin,
reaching the regionals in each of the past 2 years.
1-1 curveball hit high and deep to left field. John going back. He's just going to watch it fly. And UMass Boston is in the lead for the first time in Game 14.
Winning their first Little East Conference regular season title in 2016.
This is hammered left field. Murphy crushes it. A grand slam.
Winning the LEC tournament in 2017.
Strike three. The Beacons win the LEC tournament championship.
Earning a trip to the College World Series in 2017. The Beacons opened 2018 by earning their first ever #1 national ranking.
A chance for a second inside the park home run of the day, and Pinella slides in safely.
As they rack up more and more accolades, there's one thing that stays true. Compete every day and play blue-collar baseball.
Line drive, base hit, UMass Boston win.
The 2018 Beacons are looking to leave their mark in the history books. This is UMass Boston Baseball.
How's it going, baseball fans? It is a beautiful day in Boston to play 9. We're live from Monin Park. Alex Barr, Seth Orensky getting you ready for the 8th-ranked UMass Boston Beacons taking on Western New England University out of the Commonwealth Coast Conference in a midweek non-conference matchup. And I mean, Seth, the story of the game, these are two great teams, and there is a postseason impact in here, but it was 80 degrees driving in today. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Well, for the first time all season, at least here in New England, the pitchers can't complain about getting a good grip on the ball, and the same thing for the hitters in terms of the ball being knocked down by the cold temperature. Now it's really a chance to see some of these hitters who have maybe been scuffling over the last couple of weeks really step up their game. Maybe we'll see a few less walks, which is typically a big issue here in New England when it's 40 degrees and cold and potentially sleeting, raining, or hailing. So this is perfect baseball weather, and we don't know how long it's going to last. Maybe rain tomorrow in the forecast, but it's great to finally see it, and especially with two teams like this, two regionally ranked teams, two teams who come in pretty high in their respective conferences, a chance to pick up a pretty big win here in non-conference play.
And as we take a look at the history between these two teams, and kind of a late scheduled game here, so they had to get this in quick. Not a lot of meetings between these two schools. UMass Boston has the slight edge, but as of late, win-loss is kind of close, 5-3. The score, not so much.
No, UMass Boston's really had a big edge the last couple of games between these two sides. The Beacons earned a 6-3 victory earlier on this year at Western New England, though, in which they were trailing for most of that game. They scored 3 in the 9th to break a 3-3 tie, and actually were trailing 3-2 going into the 8th. So Beacons picked up 1 or 2 lopsided victories, but for the most part, these are two very good teams, and Western New England's been good for a very long time. Eastern Connecticut State University coach Matt LaBranche was at Western before he moved down to Mansfield, Connecticut, and that program's been good now for about 15 to 20 years. They made quite a few NCAA tournaments, and I believe they made 1 or 2 College World Series as well.
So going into this, Seth, obviously a lot at stake. You talked about the regional rankings, and we're right on the doorstep here when those become the most important ranking. So what do we need to know? What's at stake in this game, and what does each team need to do to come out with the win here?
Well, taking a look at our 4 things to know, UMass Boston has dominated regionally ranked sides, especially here in New England. They have 11 on the season, 9-1 in New England play. This is Western New England's regular season finale. The Beacons still have 2 left against Rhode Island College on Friday, but Western New England, the 3 seed in the CCC tournament, they'll open conference tournament play this weekend. It's going to be really interesting to see how they do in a conference that has 3 regionally ranked sides. They're actually 3rd of those regionally ranked sides behind Endicott and Salve. UMass Boston defeated Endicott in 10 innings on Monday night. Finally, the Beacons offense has gone a little cold recently. They went 1-2 last week, and even just 4 runs in 10 innings against Endicott. Chance to potentially break out with a nice weather, although they'll have to do it without leadoff hitter Eddie Riley. Suffered an injury yesterday in practice. He will not be available today, likely not available for Friday. The Beacons hope to have him back next Wednesday when the LEC tournament begins.
I will say, though, you mentioned the long ball. It's a warm night, not humid, winds blowing out. We're going to see some balls fly today. You mentioned the Commonwealth Coast Conference tournament, but we should get to the Little East Conference tournament, given that the home team is a Little East team. And where the Beacons sit right now, as we take a look at the numbers, they've got to feel good. Just take care of business this weekend against Rick, and they're going to be hosting the conference, or they're going to be, the one seed in the conference tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. The Beacons there are 4 scenarios that could play out between UMass Boston, Rhode Island College, and Eastern Connecticut State and Southern Maine, the 2 and 3 seeds who play on Friday at Southern Maine. The Beacons host the 4 seed Rhode Island College. The Beacons win the first seed in 3 of the 4 tiebreakers. The 4th scenario actually sees the conference tournament number 1 overall seed and hosts go down to a coin flip. So UMass Boston's going to try to take care of business against Rhode Island College on Friday and avoid having to wait to see what the flip of the coin could determine, as the Beacons would love to host the conference tournament here at Monin Park for a second time in 3 seasons.
You mentioned the Beacons being without their leadoff hitter, Eddie Riley. Taking a spot in the lineup, the designated hitter batting first is Ryan McCormick. Seth, what's the book on him?
Well, I love the fact that Ryan McCormick's a leadoff guy because not only is he pretty fast for a catcher, so you don't want a plodding guy at the leadoff spot, but he hits the ball to all fields. He's a guy who's going to put the ball in play. He's hit very well as of late, had a go-ahead 2-run single. Beacons actually trailed Endicott 2-0 early on in that game. They scored 3 in the 5th to take a 3-2 lead before blowing the lead in the 9th and taking the win in the 10th. But he's just a guy who's a very strong hitter. His defense has worked its way, and it's gotten better this season behind the plate. But he's a guy who should get on base quite a few times today and probably Friday against Rhode Island College in the leadoff spot. And he's just a guy who's going to give those 2, 3, 4 hitters who all have so much pop in their bats a chance to drive in runs.
This is the first home game for the Beacons since April 21st due to rainouts and just the natural schedule. Let's take a look back at the last time Beacons played here at Monin Park against Keene State.
Here's the 1-2, and that one grounded to the left side. Riley gobbles it up, takes the easy play at second, on to first. What a gun from Murphy as he retires the side. Starting to see Fernando do it. He comes back with another breaking ball, and Rossi swung. And that is a strikeout. Struthers is in. The first pitch is ripped to left field. That's trouble. On its way over, Setzer won't get there, and this will get the Owls on the board. They get their first lead of the doubleheader, and getting gunned down at second base. Trying to stretch it into a double with Struther. A one-pitch curveball lays the left side off the glove of the shortstop. A diving effort out there by Struthers, but Mack could not get the ball, and this is a tie game. That one is launched deep to center field. That's trouble. That one drops over the head of Sevigny. Pinellas has got speed to burn, and the sprinter will head on into third with a leadoff triple. 2-0. That Kyle lifts it to left field. That'll get the job done. Springfield coming on in. At least I think it will. It's a solid throw, but it's up the line, and Pinellas has way too good a speed to get him, and so the Beacons have taken the lead. 1-2, breaking ball, swung on and missed. He struck him out. Charlie now comes home. 1-2, ground ball, right side, base hit. This should score the run. Yugi will motor his way home. Heading on to second, Riley. He is dead to rights. The stretch, the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He struck him out. Bourgier goes down swinging. There's the 0-1. Grounded to shortstop. Yugi across the diamond, and the ball game is over as UMass Boston completes a 2-game doubleheader sweep of their rivals from Keene, New Hampshire.
Back here at Monin Park, getting ready for first pitch between the Beacons of UMass Boston and the Golden Bears of Western New England. Let's take a look at the lineup. First off, the Western New England bats. Seth?
Well, as we take a look at Western New England, the first thing that pops out to me before we go through this lineup is the fact that you have 5 guys with 30 RBI or more. It's a team, they only hit 297, but they have a decent amount of pop, 16 home runs, 75 doubles on the season in 38 games, along with 9 triples. So you're going to see a lot of pop, and that really is 2 through 6 in the order. Leparco, LeCaire, Casella, LaCroix, and Rosenblatt. That's where you really have to be very careful. You can take advantage of 7, 8, 9, all 3 guys hitting 280 or below. But it's going to be very interesting today, not only for the Beacon starter Tyler Arruda, but throughout, just to see how UMass Boston does against the middle of that order that can really rack up runs quickly for Western New England.
Both these teams hit well. Western New England hitting 297 as a team coming in. The Beacons at 299. Defensively for UMass Boston in the infield, left to right, Boudris, Hugie, Murphy, and Fowler. In the outfield, Cesare, Pinellas, and Herzog. And it's Harrington doing the catching for Tyler Arruda. Freshman gets the start. It is his 6th of the year, 8th appearance. He's got a 4.37 ERA, 1 win, 1 loss, 18 strikeouts, 7 walks. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see how he manages this lineup today, Seth, because like we were talking about before the game, he likes to battle through at-bats, but these hitters from Western New England are more than happy to battle right with him.
Well, what I like about Arruda is, like a lot of freshmen, he's gotten better as the season has gone along. Arruda's a guy who actually pitched pretty well in the Beacons' second home game of the season against MIT. Went through some bumps. His big thing is he typically works well through the order the first time, maybe even the second time, and that's when he begins to have some problems. So it'll be interesting to see today how much of a leash he's given. The other thing is the Beacons have Josh Gerson, their 3rd weekday starter of the week, available, and anybody who didn't pitch the other day against Endicott probably is eligible for an inning, maybe a little bit more. So UMass Boston will only play 2 more games here over the next 7 or 8 days when they take on Rhode Island College on Friday, and they'll have their number 1 and 2 available against the Anchormen.
And so we are just minutes away from first pitch. Traffic today, if you experienced that, was horrible. Western New England got here a little late. So if you're joining us, game hasn't started yet. They're getting in their final I.O. We'll be back with the national anthem and first pitch here from Monin Park. Getting ready for the Beacons and the Golden Bears.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
Welcome back to Monin Park here on Columbia Point, Boston, Massachusetts. Sun setting over the skyline out to left. And you're seeing there that's a pretty professional looking view. And I've always said they do a great job here at UMass Boston with the broadcast work. For a lot of schools, they are one of, if not the best. But this is a new feature here, and Seth Orensky is one of the individuals involved for kind of getting this set up. But center field camera tonight, Seth, we're going big leagues with it.
Well, this is Dave Wahlberg's baby. I'm not going to take any of the credit for it. This was when Monin Park was being built, this was a big feature that we had hoped to involve back in 2016 and 2017. Took a little bit longer, but after quite a few tests this morning, and a couple of sunburns, we are finally up and underway. And if the Beacons host next week in the LEC tournament, it's one of the features that we're very excited to have going on. So you see the numbers on Tyler Arruda. We talked about it earlier. And what I love about Tyler, for a freshman to have an 18 strikeout to 7 walk ratio, it's pretty darn good for a guy who's typically pitching against one of the Beacons' top opponents in their midweek schedule, which is typically one of the better ones in New England.
Tyler, a freshman from New Bedford, Massachusetts, listed as a designated hitter, so
he does get some at-bats.
You know. So where I'm trying to see now, where is the camera out in center field? I know this means nothing for the people who are seeing the camera view, but
so if you come to Monin Park,
yeah,
there
we go. This view, will help.
There is you can see the 5 black poles where the batter's eye was supposed to be, but the batter's eye, with the amount of wind you get here, just wasn't feasible. So it's in the middle of the 6 poles. Yeah, you can now you see it once you know exactly where to go. And then you can see the beautiful harbor behind from that angle as well. So we're going to try to bring some shots from the bullpen. That'll certainly help us rather than speculating who's out there 400 feet away.
No need for the binoculars.
And it also will give us maybe a better angle of the strike zone, which typically confounds me no matter what, as that's partially the umpires and partially just the view right behind the umpire.
Today's umpires behind the plate, Edward McGavin, and on the bases, Joseph Peters. They'll be the ones calling the balls and strikes. See the teams lining up. Beacons going with the blue Tequila Sunrise uniforms. Western New England with the all-blue jersey. The team takes the field. Getting ready here for National Anthem. Again, wind's blowing out. It's a warm night, so we're expecting a lot of offense tonight, Seth. Freshman pitcher on the mound for the Beacons. Is that maybe a bit of a disadvantage?
I don't think it's a disadvantage. I will say that Arruda has, on occasion, given up the long ball. We saw him give up a grand slam earlier this season against, I think it was Westfield State here at home in a 5-2, 5-1 loss. In a game he pitched really well. He just gave up the one long ball. You got to keep the ball down today. You're going to see the ball go a lot deeper than it typically would. So if you leave something up, you're likely to be giving up 2, 3, or 4 bases. And that's the one thing that both of these pitching staffs are going to have to focus on a really warm night.
I will say this. They say this time of year, nobody's a freshman. We now step aside for the National Anthem. So Anthem done. Our first look here, a couple warm-up pitches for Tyler Arruda. He will face Jamie Schofield, Alex Loparco, and Eric LeClaire to lead things off. Again, this is a non-conference matchup, being midweek, but plenty of playoff implications on the line with regional rankings. This top of the order, Schofield comes in hitting .269. You've got Loparco hitting .398. This is his 38th game, all starts. And then LeClaire batting third, hitting .315. 5 players that see regular time hitting over 300 for the Golden Bears, 6 for the Beacons. Again, both these teams hitting right around 300 as a team, each just a couple of points shy. So the earnest is on the pitchers tonight. You got to quiet down the bats, whoever's on the mound.
Well, yeah, I'm also interested to see the Beacons defensively. Jack Harrington in behind the plate. He gets a rare start with Ryan McCormick moving to the DH role. Kyle Boudris, who had been DHing since the end of the Beacons' Florida trip due to an injury, is back in at third base where he started each of his first 2 years and started the year there. But Eddie Riley's a little bit of a quicker, more agile player. So how does Boudris adjust? And then how do the Beacons adjust to having Harrington behind the dish? He's typically their late-game defensive catcher because he is so good behind the plate.
Arruda starts things off with a fastball and misses low, ball 1. It is so important for Arruda to get ahead in the count. So you don't like to see him fall down. Now he falls down a bit early here, 2-0. He is a placement pitcher. He's a control pitcher. So, again, just 2 pitches in, but a little concerning for the Beacons to see him fall down early like this.
Well, that was interesting. This is the first time we've used this center field cam, getting a little bit better view of the plate. That second pitch looked like it was pretty good. It came in right at the knee, dipping into the strike zone, but it wasn't given. He's missed badly on his first 2 pitches. See if he can get a strike in at 3-0.
And he just does catch the outside part of the plate, strike 1.
Beacons pitchers have as a group, struggled early on in innings, especially in the first inning with a lot of walks. And just like that, there's another one as Arruda shrugs it off. He thought that might have been strike 2.
So for Schofield, that is just his 8th walk of the season against 18 strikeouts. It's a guy who will pitch to contact in 22 and 2/3 innings this year, 11 earned runs, 23 hits. 18 strikeouts, now the 8 walks. Leparco is the new batter, the captain for this Golden Bears squad. A junior from Riverside, Connecticut. First pitch misses away again.
And Leparco's one of those guys with all those extra base hits, 8 doubles, 1 triple, and a home run, 30 RBI out of the 2 spot, and a very impressive 541 on base percentage. That is unreal. 11 hit by pitches and 30 walks.
Now one's in there for a strike, second strike of the game from Arruda.
And the other thing, Alex, we haven't talked about, this Western New England team likes to run a ton. 120 stolen base attempts on the season. They're 100 for 120.
Checks over to first. Back in time is Schofield. Schofield specifically on the bases this year. 11 stolen bases. He has not been caught.
Which puts him 4th.
Right. And he'll get back again. Don't think Arruda doesn't know it here.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something the Beacons talked about. And the fact that this is the second time UMass Boston has seen the Golden Bears, they have a pretty good idea.
This is a rare second meeting for non-conference foes, excluding, of course, a doubleheader, but 2 meetings on 2 individual dates. You don't see that often, but a little bit of rescheduling happening around recent inclement weather.
Everyone's got to get in conference games, and that was the issue with Salve Regina yesterday. They had to play a conference game, and with Amherst today.
Outside for a ball, they're going to throw down to first. The throw hops in on a line. Maybe it gets him. Count goes to 3-1.
No, I think they got 2-2 now, so that was a strike.
Okay.
And I like the fact that the Beacons are trying to keep Schofield honest. If you can get this first caught stealing, sometimes teams become a little bit wary.
Arruda checks back to first again. That's, I believe, now 4 throws over from the pitcher and 1 from the catcher. We've seen 4 balls to the plate this at-bat.
Just to put the running for Western New England in perspective.
And here is the attempt. Strike him out. No, fouled into the mid, so they will get the out, but no play down a second.
You look at Schofield with his 11 stolen bases, 4th on the team. 11 steals would be 3rd on the Beacons, just 2 off the team lead. So that's why you really got to limit not just the extra bases, but also the free passes. So Western New England's going to be very good at manufacturing runs just based off of their speed alone.
And they've got the turf today, too. That'll make it quicker. Eric LeCaire is the batter, the center fielder today for Western New England. Comes in hitting .315, 2 home runs and 35 driven in. Takes a first pitch ball.
Arruda's missed up a lot thus far, and that's going to be a problem if Western New England recognizes he's missing up. They can sit on something high and try to drive it out, especially over the mini monster out there in left field.
Wind blowing straight out to center, gusting maybe a bit even towards right to the bullpens. Would I guess be Minnie Williamsburg. No throw down at third. A pump fake from Harrington, but he doesn't go as the batter was in the way. The pitch was in for a strike, but now a runner on third, and just like that, 2 stolen bases for the Golden Bears.
Yeah, Arruda didn't give Harrington a chance there. The runner was off before Arruda had ever released the ball, and that's tough for a right-handed catcher to go through a right-handed hitter.
The 1-1. Curveball got away from him and just kind of floats in there. Luckily, it was above the head. If that pitch is 6 inches lower, look out.
This is a good test, though, for Arruda. No matter how today goes, he's likely to be the Beacons' Game 3, Game 4 starter during next week's conference tournament. And he's a guy who's going to have to pitch against some really good offenses and give the Beacons 5 or 6 innings as a freshman, which is a lot to ask of most freshmen.
3-1 the count here to LeCaire. Tyler Arruda with a runner on third and 1 out.
And LeCaire's not a guy you want to put on either. 21 of 23 on the season on the base pass.
3-1, swing and a miss on the fastball. Needed that one. Count goes full.
Great location on that heavy fastball coming in on the hands of LeCaire, and he couldn't quite catch up.
3-2 count. Runner on third is Schofield. 1 out, top of the first. Western New England threatening. Fouled off the hands and back out of play. So we've seen a couple of fastballs here. He went to the breaking stuff in the middle of the at-bat. Couldn't locate it. Goes back to the heater now and fills the count up.
Yeah, I think he's going to keep throwing the fastball. And he's not 100% feeling his control with the breaking stuff, so he wants to avoid issuing a second free pass here in the first 3 batters.
This is by my count pitch 8 of the at-bat. Grounder to short, run's going to score. Hughie across the diamond in time to get him, but Western New England takes a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and I don't mind that right now if you're UMass Boston. After a 5-pitch walk to the leadoff batter, Arruda settled in and did a really nice job there, jamming one of the better hitters for Western New England on 3 consecutive pitches. You can get out of here down 1-0. You know your offense is going to score runs. Yes, they're in the middle of a mini slump, but they're back at home where they typically score a lot, and it's such a nice day. This isn't a day where you're going to win 1-0, 2-1.
Joe Casella steps in. Casella, the cleanup hitter, without a home run this year, but hitting .368. And believe it or not, that's second on the team as he hits this one into the left center field gap. Coming over is Pinellas. He lines it up and makes the catch to retire the side. But a leadoff walk yields a run. No errors, nobody left on base. We've played half an inning. Western New England 1. UMass Boston coming up. You are watching UMass Boston Beacons Baseball on beaconathletics.com.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris. The subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Bottom of the first inning, Beacons already find themselves in a 1-0 hole, facing Matt Vigliotti. Here's the lineup that will try to attack him. Ryan McCormick, the designated hitter, leads it off. Kyle Boudris, the third baseman, bats second. Dave Murphy batting second. Playing second, batting third. Chris Fowler's the cleanup man. He's at first. Nick Herzog's in right, batting fifth. Anthony Cesare in left field, batting seventh. 6, 7, 8, 9, Wanderson, Pinellas, Jack Harrington, and Charlie Hughie, center catcher and short in order.
Yeah, those positions changed due to the late change with Riley out of the lineup, but all of the names and batting averages are correct. Take a look right now at the defensive lineup for Western New England. A lot of speed out there, and we know that based on the base pass. LaCroix in left, LeCaire in center, Schofield in right, Rosenblatt, Leparco, Rios, and Nussbaum around the infield with Valeriano behind the plate. For Bigliotti's, we take a quick look at Bigliotti's numbers. One of the better pitchers this year for Western New England.
Vigliotti making his first start. This is his 7th total appearance. First 6 came out of the bullpen. Sophomore is 1-2 with a 2.63 ERA in 13 innings. He's allowed just 4 earned runs, 18 hits, struck out 12 and walked 3. So he is effective, but this first pitch is going to be grounded between first and second. Ryan McCormick sees the first pitch he likes, and the Beacons have the leadoff man on.
So I said he was going to get on base a lot, but he's probably not in the mindset of a leadoff hitter, where typically you see a lot of leadoff hitters take a pitch, maybe working it bat. Well, McCormick is see pitch, hit ball hard, and that's really the only thing that he knows, but it's worked out pretty well. A career average over 350, and now let's see if the Beacons can manufacture a run of their own, or maybe more than one run here in the first.
Here's a junior from Medford, Massachusetts, Kyle Boudris. He takes a first pitch ball. Boudris on the season hitting .333, 2 home runs, 32 driven in, slugging up near 500.
And his power surge has come around as of late. Had not hit a home run his first 2 years. It's hit 2 in the last 2 weeks.
Bigliotti grounds to the first base bag. Could be an unconventional 2. No. Sliding under the tag at second is McCormick, but a heady play by Nussbaum to at least make sure that the Golden Bears get 1.
Yeah, if that had been a better throw, if it hadn't bounced into the glove there of the shortstop who had to bring it back down, taking a little bit of extra time, I think they get McCormick at second base. The Beacons catch a break here, and now a single could potentially tie this game up.
Dave Murphy at the plate for the Beacons hitting .326. He leads the Beacons with 10 home runs, 33 driven in. Only Beacon in double digits. The next closest is Chris Fowler, who's on deck. He's got 5. First pitch to Murphy in for a strike.
Murphy's been in a bit of a power slump. Hasn't hit a home run the last 2 weeks, but a guy who typically when the weather gets hot, that's when he gets going.
Grounds this one hard to third. It's going to hold the runner. Now the runner goes. Throw across the diamond is in time. How about the heads-up base running from Ryan McCormick? So 2 down, but a runner just 90 feet away. We've seen this situation before, right? Top
really
of first.
I like that base running from McCormick, doing a really nice job of baiting back as if he's going to head back to second, but he gave himself enough space where he was easily able to get into third base.
Leparco got a little relaxed with the throw. That certainly helped when he saw the runner going back. So here's Fowler. Fowler takes a first pitch ball, and Seth, we've seen the Beacons not be gun shy. They've come out swinging. Not too many deep counts here early for Vigliotti. They're jumping right on him.
No, but they're not hitting the ball that hard. Even McCormick's single was just a bleeder through the right side. Fowler, though, a guy who is very comfortable hitting with 2 strikes, had a 37-game hitting streak, a program record a season ago, as it's now 2-0 to Fowler. Let's see if he has a green light here, trying to drive in this first run of the game.
Bigliotti comes set, runner on third, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Thought about it. Breaking ball cuts away. Count goes to 3-0. Outfield playing straight away. Infield a little deep in the middle. The second baseman, Aaron Rios, playing back on the green. Not the grass, it's all turf, but he's back on the outer green cut. That one's in there for a strike. Fastball on the outside part. Count goes to 3-1. And now I think we will see Fowler get the green light here. If he can drive that tying run in. Beacon's looking to even things up. Western New England scored with 2 outs. Catcher sets up away. Here's the pitch. It is away, but it's called a strike. Outside part. Fowler took a step out of the box. I believe he knew that was going to be strike 2. So here we go. Full count, 2 outs. Bigliotti, the pitch. Bounces away from the catcher on ball 4. Runner coming home. He's going to score standing, and we're tied. Deep backstop helps the Beacons there. And Ryan McCormick is in on what I believe will be a passed ball. It is a passed ball. And a walk for Fowler, so the Beacons inning keeps going.
Sorry about that, Alex. Just a bit of technical difficulties, but just like Western New England did, UMass Boston manufactures a run without a second hit in the inning. Western New England got the walk and then a couple stolen bases, but this is a nice job of UMass Boston responding against a pitcher who's done pretty well here in the first of keeping the Beacons off balance.
We said we were in for some offense tonight at the top of the broadcast, but we figured wind blowing out, warm night, balls would be flying all over the park. I didn't think it was going to be this kind of offense. This is more 40-degree baseball.
Well, both teams have good pitching staffs to go along with really good hitting. I mean, that's the thing. The pitchers can complain just as much about the bad weather. It's tough to control the ball. Maybe your breaking balls don't work quite as well. UMass Boston, a really respectable 3.62 ERA. Western New England at 3.81.
Nick Herzog, the batter, hitting .279 coming in. Grounds this one towards the shortstop. Leparco has a little bit of trouble with it. Recovers. The throw's not going to be in time.
That's a tough play, a really difficult backhand for Leparco. And then even with the strong throw, it's not going to be easy to get Herzog, one of the Beacon's better base runners. So now if you're Western New England, you thought you could have gotten out of the inning. And realistically, if Leparco maybe had made a difficult play, it's still 1-0. But you really want to keep this game at 1-1 with 2 runners on and 2 outs.
Anthony Cesare hitting .343. He has driven in 14 this year, takes a first pitch strike. To reset the inning for the Beacons, they got a leadoff single, a couple of ground outs moved the man to third. And then a walk and a wild pitch scored the runner. Chris Fowler on second, then a single by Nick Herzog puts him on first. This one's up and away for a ball, and the count goes even to Cesare, the left fielder. Wanderson Pinales, the center fielder, on deck, hoping for a chance.
And Cesare's a guy who's really done well since stepping into the starting lineup and left, one of the Beacons' top hitters over the past 15 to 20 games.
Long look back to second. Here's the 1-1. Who had that one timed out, but just got on top of it and fouled it back.
Yeah, he just missed that pitch. If that's a little bit further in, probably driving that out to right field. Anthony hit a home run, his first of his career, a couple weeks ago against UMass Dartmouth in a big doubleheader sweep. A guy who is very capable of putting it into the bullpens.
Sophomore from Wakefield, Massachusetts. Got jammed up on that one. That's going to be strike 3, and the side is retired. But the Beacons get 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors. They do leave 2 on base. We've played 1 full. Each team scored once. We go to the second in Boston, tied at 1.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else, Seth. The skyline of Boston, Massachusetts. The first 80-degree day in Boston this year.
You could sell that on the postcard if you cropped out the cars at the bottom. It's been a really, really nice day here in early May. I've spent a lot of time at the ballpark, a little bit more than I expected to today getting center field to work, but it was totally worth it.
You don't hate that on a day like today.
No, and today's probably the first day all year where no pants, no long sleeves. And
to be
still
fair,
gorgeous.
you were wearing shorts. Let's not send the people at home into a frenzy.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's worried about that here at Monin Park. But now it's interesting to see how these two pitchers settle in. Arruda did a nice job after the leadoff walk, as did Vigliotti. A chance to see which of these young pitchers can really get into a groove and potentially put down these potent offenses.
Arruda's got Ben LaCroix down to 2 strikes here on 2 pitches. LaCroix, the left fielder. He takes the ball away. It's LaCroix, Rosenblatt, Nussbaum this inning. If anybody reaches Rios, The interesting thing about that skyline set, we got a little cropped by a light pole over there, is there's a third building going up next to the Prudential. This one is fought off to third base. Boudreaux on the move in time for the first out of the inning. We got a little cropped over there. There's a third building going up next to Prudential, and for somebody like me who's grown up in this city, I've been looking at the same skyline for 24 years. It's a little jarring to see another tower there. We had the Millennium Tower last year. That's in the downtown skyline, and now that building going up in the Back Bay skyline.
It's always interesting to see guys like ourselves who were considered young pups for a while, and now we sound like the old men complaining about new things on the Skyliner. I mean, you're going to see that a lot in Boston going forward, though, with Amazon committing 2,000 new jobs here and potentially more. If Amazon's headquarters come to Boston, there's going to be another big building. It's going to happen more and more, especially in Boston, where realistically the ocean's going to rise. The only way you can build at this point is up because you can't build out any further. In fact, you're going to have to start shrinking some of the businesses that are already around the seaport.
I don't know, Seth, you've been here for, 6 years?
At UMass Boston for 6, and in Boston for 10.
So you may know this. I don't know if you know this. There's a certain part of Boston. You see there's the downtown skyline, then there's kind of a lull, and then the Back Bay skyline. You can't build skyscrapers, actually, in the area that is technically Back Bay. The reason that is called Back Bay is it was once a bay, as this has popped up and out of play. And after, in the early 1800s, people realized strategically, from a military point of view, it made more sense to have that be land than water, so they filled it in. That's all landfill. That's not naturally there. The consequence is the land is very soft, and if you try to build a tower on it, it'll just sink down.
Well, look at UMass Boston's campus.
Right.
That was a landfill as well. Even my alma mater, Boston University, built on former marshland. That's the case at a lot of places around the city of Boston. And it's why if you actually go to some of the major battles points around Boston, they're very far inland, and you're saying, well, this wasn't right along the water like I was told, but that's because the water has changed.
Hot shot to third. Boudreaux a little trouble with it. Recovers in time. Throw to first, and he gets him.
I don't know why Rosenblatt slid there. I hate the slide into first base. More often than not, it's not actually going to get you in there any faster, and it could cause you to get there a bit slower. And it makes it difficult for the umpire to see because all of a sudden you're diving out with the right hand rather than with the foot. You don't get that hard slap.
Right. Couple of nice plays this inning for Boudreaux, too. He's recovered from a few hard-hit balls. And
this is great to see. Kyle's made, 2-3 plays at this point for a guy who hasn't played the field in about a month.
Skied in a left.
They don't know where it is.
Sessery's trying to find it. It's going to fall. Heading to second, and in there, standing is Nussbaum.
Yeah, both Pinellas and Sessery threw up both hands. Neither guy had a clue. It's actually beneficial for the Beacons. It fell that close to Sessery. Otherwise, it could have been 3, if not more.
And Nussbaum knew it. I mean, he was motoring around the bases. It can be tough this time of night. When the ball gets up above the lights, it disappears. You can't see it again until it comes back below the light cover, and I think that's what happened there. That ball was hit a mile high.
Well, and that's the benefit of playing in a stadium that's similar to Fenway Park. You see that at Fenway sometimes. I mean, a smart play by the base runner with 2 outs, you should be going hard either way, and he motored his way into second base. Now a runner in scoring position with 2 down. Western New England a chance to take the lead right back.
The batter for Western New England is Aaron Rios. Rios hitting .233. This is his 26th game, 22nd start as he takes a strike. So Tyler Ruda being hit a little harder now. He was able to handle it thanks to a few good plays from Boudreaux, but once again, 2 outs, runner in scoring position has to get out of it. 1-1 the count, looks back to second. Big lead at second for Nussbaum, and wisely Arruda steps off.
Well, this is one of the problem areas for Western New England when it comes to their lineup. They just don't have a lot of pop or really have had great production out of this second base spot. Dan Gomez is split time between Rios and Johnson. Both guys hitting under 240 on the season with the combined 28 RBI, which is nice. But with the team that scores this many runs, it's easy to pick up RBI even if you're not hitting all that well.
Rios, the 8th hitter, in a 1-1 count. 2 outs, runner on second. Here's the pitch. Got him with the curveball, strike 2. Was completely fooled by that. Aaron Rios over the top of it.
Well, what I've liked from Arruda is in the first inning, he got behind the first 2 hitters, was really struggling. Here in the second, he's pitched ahead the entire time. And when you're pitching ahead, you can throw those balls in the turf and expect the batter to maybe swing.
lined in between first and second. Windmill coming from the third base coach on his way home is Nussbaum. The throw gets away from the catcher Harrington, and the runner's going to score. Throw down to second. In time is Rios. It's an RBI single, and once again, Western New England takes a 1-run lead.
Well, that's a run that should never have been scored. Not only do you have the ball that drops in front of Cesare, didn't see it. If Herzog's throws a little bit close to the plate, Harrington has enough time, but Harrington's still going to be kicking himself. He, in a criminal sin that happens in every sport, was more focused on the base runner there than actually making the catch and then making the tag. He had time to do both, and that cost the Beacons a run here with 2 outs.
We saw the same thing in the Red Sox game last night. Christian Vasquez going to apply the tag before he had the ball. That's in there for a strike to Bryant Valeriano, the 9-hitter and the catcher. Valeriano hitting .250 with 2 home runs and 17 driven in.
Well, give credit where credit's due, though. A nice swing from Rios going the opposite way. And then a strong throw from Herzog, just a little bit too far up line, making his catcher's life just a little bit harder. Really want to get this batter right now and face the top of the order to start the 3rd inning with nobody on.
Aruda comes set, delivers up and away. Maybe pushed the fastball a little bit too much there.
You got Rios out there at second base, dancing off the base, trying to distract Aruda just the littlest bit.
This is going to be pitch number 39 for Tyler Aruda. They said pregame he didn't have a pitch count tonight, but they did want to keep him away from high-stress innings early, and this is going to be his 2nd in a row, having to work with a runner in scoring position late in the inning. 1-2 the count. Can't put an end to it right here. The breaking ball just missed. That thing really cut back across the plate. Maybe another half an inch of break, and that's strike 3.
I think it was just a little bit high there, maybe a little bit over the belt. It looked pretty juicy right over the plate.
The 2-2. Fought off the hands into center field. Coming in is Pinellas. It'll drop in front of him. Here's the throw. It's cut off at the mound. Another run's going to score. Make it 3-1 Golden Bears.
2 runs in the inning, all because Cesare and Pinellas couldn't find it. A nice job there by Pinellas, deking as if he had a chance at making the play. But with 2 outs, the runner's going hard either way. And a smart move not to toss that one all the way home, keeping the runner at first base. This has just been a difficult start for Aruda. A little bit of bad luck, but a nice job by this Western New England offense that's clearly one of the better offenses in all of New England. We're talking 303 runs in 38 games, somewhere around, 7, 8 a game.
Yeah. You know, you saw Boudris struggle with a couple balls early in the inning, and Aruda gets the break on those, and then to see it go the other way, I mean, this inning shows you baseball is not about, you don't run out of time, you run out of outs, and Aruda got the first 2 outs pretty comfortably, maybe got a little too comfortable out there again. The third batter that probably should have been an out, but, you know, as a pitcher sometimes mentally, the inning's over, you see that ball kind of lazily into left field, and then suddenly you got to snap back into it as he delivers a first pitch strike to Jamie Schofield. He walked and scored back in the 1st inning.
Oh, for sure. And then you also factor in the fact that, all right, 7, 8, 9 are coming up. Maybe I can take it a little bit easy, and all of a sudden 7, 8, 9 are attacking fastballs and driving them to the outfield. It's been a nice job by this part of the order that I said might be a little bit easier, and they've been able to manufacture some runs. But again, we're very early in a game. And I think that this, again, is going to be a game that's going to be played maybe in the double digits rather than the single digits, which we've been seeing throughout all of New England just because of how cold it's been.
Valeriano gets down to second on the steal. We talk about how much speed this team has. Even the catcher is 10 for 13 on the bases this year. Make it 11 for 14 now. Count goes to 1-1 on Schofield.
Yeah, this is a big spot for Aruda right now. Can't give up another run because this could shorten his outing immensely. I think the Beacons already have Josh Gerson potentially warming up.
Swing and a miss for strike 2. It does look like there's somebody moving around out there now. We know the Beacons bullpen. They could just be joking around, maybe getting ready to throw a football or...
Well, it also could just be a midweek bullpen session getting ready for Friday from one of their starters.
Runner goes, hit into shallow right field. Coming in is Herzog. He lays out. He makes the catch. Nick Herzog bails out his pitcher, Tyler Aruda, with the full extension grab, but the damage is done. 2 runs on 3 hits. No errors, 1 man left on base through 1.5 at Monon Park. It's Western New England 3, UMass Boston 1 on BeaconAthletics.com.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Bottom of the first, and once again, the Beacons have to answer. 2 runs surrendered by Tyler Aruda in the top half of this inning, and the Beacons with 7, 8, and 9 due up. This one is hit into right field. It's going to hook just foul by Wanderson Pinellas. It's Pinellas, Harrington, and Hughie if anybody reaches McCormick. And if that pole seems short down there, if you're new to Beacons baseball, I don't know how you would be at this point in the season, but if you are, the dimension's identical to Fenway Park, so there is a pesky pole down there in right as that ball is just foul. Again, Pinellas coming so close there on back-to-back pitches, but he once again finds himself down 0-2 to Matt Vigliotti, who allowed 2 hits, a walk, and a run in the first.
And this is Pinellas' problem there. He's struck out 42 times versus 8 walks. He's a very fast guy, one of the Beacons' leaders in stolen bases, but he's just got to find a way on. He's got to put the ball in play more. This Beacons lineup is really going to work well 1 through 9. You don't want to have a guy who's striking out a lot because when you're striking out, you're typically not moving runners along. You're not contributing to the offense. So Pinellas is capable of hitting the ball very far. He's hit an inside-the-park home run this year. He's hit the ball out of the park. Just needs to do a bit better job of shortening his swing with 2 strikes and putting the ball in play because a lot of times it's going to be a hit.
Catcher sets up outside. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Pinellas down on the fastball. And there is 1 away here in the bottom of the second.
Bigliotti's got some really nice breaking stuff. I think that was actually the slider, the curveball that caught the outside half, but we've seen him strike out 2 different Beacons batters with really good late motion.
Here's Jack Harrington, the catcher for UMass Boston. A late addition to the lineup that's in there for a strike. Harrington making just his 7th start. He's been used a bit in relief. His 25th total appearance, hitting .207. The 0-1. And he takes that one once again. 2 pitches, 2 strikes for Matt Vigliotti. Second time this inning. The Beacons really were jumping all over him in the first. Now here in the second, maybe being overly patient.
It was essentially the same spot. Harrington looking for something in, and now he has to protect.
Grounded to the shortstop, over to first, and there's 2 down. Yeah, had that one off the end of the bat and right to Loparco.
Yeah, and Harrington, as a catcher, he's not going to complain about it. I think those first 2 pitches were both strikes either way. But when Vigliotti gets the outside half of the plate, then Harrington has to extend a little bit further. So we'll see whether Charlie Hughey is first pitch swinging here, recognizing that Vigliotti's thrown a lot of first pitch strikes. UMass Boston, though, would desperately like to extend this inning a bit just for Tyler Aruta's sake.
Hughey, the 9-hitter, hitting .278. The junior from Sandy Hook, Connecticut, takes a first pitch strike.
So what is this, 7 pitches, 7 strikes to start the inning?
Yep. 1 ball. There's 1 ball to Pinellas. 7 pitches, 6 strikes, and that's going to be second ball of the inning, first of the at-bat as it's up and away. Same place he missed with that first ball, too. They kept trying to get Pinellas to chase away. They got Harrington to dribble one off the end of the bat away. That seems to be the go-to for the out for Vigliotti. As this one's too far away and low for a ball, count goes to 2-1.
I love Hughey in the 9-hole because he's essentially another leadoff batter because he has a very patient approach at the plate. He's a guy who's going to see a lot of pitches, have 7, 8, 9 pitch at bats, and that's good for Beacon's team thus far that hasn't been patient enough, allowing Vigliotti to really cruise through these first 2 innings without a ton of trouble.
Count goes to 3-1 on Hughey. Vigliotti has already issued 1 walk. That came 2 outs in the first, and Hughey swings a ball 4 there. It's going to even make the count go full.
Yeah, just as I say, he's patient. He does swing a pitch out of the zone. Now let's see if he can continue to battle, potentially get on, give Aruda a little bit more time to compose himself in the dugout.
Payoff pitch, swing and a miss away, strike 3. And that will retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. No hits, no errors, no runs. Nobody left on base. 2 full in the books. Western New England 3, UMass Boston 1 on beaconathletics.com.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
That's just about it for UMass Boston this year. If you haven't gotten down to Monon Park yet, you have one more chance for sure. And that will be against Rhode Island College on Friday, doubleheader. And then there is a chance, a good chance. The Little East tournament will be here in Boston as well, and that would start May 9th. It would be the 9th through the 12th.
I would say statistically UMass Boston probably has a somewhere between a 60 and 70% chance. Southern Maine is very, very hot right now. Their head coach, Ed Flaherty, picked up his 1,000th career win today. You know he's a good coach when he was named to the Hall of Fame and coached for now 12 more seasons afterwards. But UMass Boston would love a chance to not have to go up to Ed Flaherty Field next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday if they get that far.
Like we saw in the second inning, Tyler Ruda falls behind 2-0 in the third. It'll be the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Loparco, LeCare, and Casella for Western New England. This one's hit a ways into center. Pinellas going back on it, still going back. Looks up, it's off the wall. Took a bad hop. Pinellas going to have to chase it all the way in. Heading to third is Loparco. He's going to be in standing. A leadoff triple for the Golden Bears shortstop.
That is the first time I've seen that happen here at Monon Park. There's a little bit of a break, just like at Fenway, between the monster, or in this case, the green fencing that makes up the monster, and center field, and it hit a pole, but it hit in between the pole and the fence, which is why it had such an odd carom coming out rather than bouncing right back. And all of a sudden, Western New England looks like they have a chance to score more runs here in the third.
Ed LeCare already has 1 RBI. That came back in the first inning on a fielder's choice. It reminded me a lot, Seth, and you can't really tell where those poles are as a fielder, just because they're behind the fence. Reminds me a lot of the ladder up on the Green Monster at Fenway.
Well, yeah, and we can't see those posts.
Right.
It's just very obvious when it hits something other than just the fencing
Just
out
a
there that
chain link
typically
fence.
just gives you a nice bounce right back. Deadens the ball a little bit rather than sending that caroming pass, one of the Beacon's fastest players.
The 1-1. Fenway Ladder, almost didn't make it. When they took this, it was originally used to get balls out of the netting when there was netting on top of the monster. When they took the netting down, they didn't need the ladder anymore. They were going to take it off. And actually, the Baseball Hall of Fame, Cooperstown, came in and said that is the only in-play ladder in Major League Baseball, as this one is blocked by Harrington. It's the only in-play ladder in Major League Baseball, and they wanted to keep it that way as an artifact. They had bid one at the old Tiger Stadium, was the second to last. That got torn down, and they said, we think you should keep it, so they kept it. Has no purpose. It's just aesthetic at this point. Here's the 3-1. That's hit hard into left field. That will get down. Runner coming to the plate is going to score standing. Second RBI of the game for Ed LeCaire, and it's 4-1.
Well, this is not the way Aruda wanted this night to go, but Western New England's taking a really good approach. And going back to that ball that was hit out to center, there was a high school game earlier on between Boston College High School and Catholic Memorial, and probably watched 10 innings or so of high school baseball a year, just waiting for them to finish up here. And we saw a kid with a wooden bat go to dead center field, hit it off the base of the wall. That kind of shows you just how much the ball is carrying out today, because that is a shot for a high schooler, and he absolutely crushed it.
With a wooden bat.
Yeah, with a wooden bat. So that shows how much the temperature and the wind is affecting play today. Not to say that ball might not have made the wall, but it looked like Pinales felt like he comfortably had a chance to make the play, and then he just kept backing up and recognized he was already at the wall. Seen a couple balls today go a bit further than maybe the Beacons outfield has anticipated. They should know this field better than anyone.
Is that batting practice or live pitching as we see
That's Chris Monroe up for UMass Boston. Interesting, because Monroe's typically a 6, 7, 8 inning guy, but they're really trying to keep this game within striking distance right now. That's why you'd bring in a guy like Monroe rather than maybe a Josh Gerson or someone else. Monroe, the sophomore, just looks like he's maybe in the middle of his warm-ups, not quite ready to go. But Daniel Gamble is going to come out to the mound and give Monroe a little bit more time. So the Beacons might be going to the hook a little bit earlier than we anticipated.
So far, the line on Aruda, 2 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, a walk and a strikeout. He is still responsible for the runner on first. Doesn't look like he's coming out here, but I would imagine the hook is coming sooner rather than later, especially if he struggles anymore. Still nobody out in this inning. Western New England with a runner on, and they've already scored once.
Well, and the tough part about this right now is you go back to the second, and not to harp too much on it, but if that ball that got lost up in the lights by the two Beacons outfielders is caught, you wonder if, well, there wouldn't be 2 runs up in the second inning, but you wonder if Aruda maybe settles down. And that happens a lot in baseball. Pitcher gets 1 or 2 bad breaks, all of a sudden their entire night is derailed, and what you really don't want is your entire day is derailed as a team, as UMass Boston tries to keep this within striking distance.
Popped into shallow right field. Herzog coming in, has a beat on it, makes the catch. And that is out number 1. We saw Herzog in the second inning. That could have been a lot worse. Made a great diving catch to end the second inning.
Yeah, with the runner that was coming home, we've seen Herzog make a lot of really strong plays throughout his career. He also nearly threw a player out at the plate. That would have gotten the second run to not score for Western New England. UMass Boston's defense has made some nice plays in right and third base thus far behind Aruda.
Here's Ben LaCroix. The left fielder is 0 for 1. He grounded out to third. Takes the first pitch ball. Another first pitch ball for Aruda. Runner on first, 1 out. Top of the third inning. And there's been a lot of offense, most of it from the Golden Bears. 4-1 the score. Throw over to first and diving back in time is LeCaire.
And unlike UMass Boston's lineup where they really throw their top hitters 2, 3, 4, Western New England actually gets more pop as you go down the lineup. You look at LaCroix, has 2 homers, 36 RBI. Nussbaum, who's either up next or in the hole, he's got 5 homers, 6 doubles. He's got 26 RBI. And Rosenblatt has a team-leading 41 RBI, and he's the other guy in this trio. here sitting 4, 5, and 6.
It's the 5-6 that's going to get you there. Their 3 and 4 hitters are actually their leaders average-wise.
And they're both speedy, so they're guys who can generate runs once they're aboard.
So their whole lineup essentially sat back 2 spots. This is popped third base side. Will stay in play. Somebody got it. I think it's Boudris. It is Boudris who comes down with it, and there's 2 down, but that could have been a lot worse.
Tyler Aruda considers himself an athlete, and we've seen him get some pinch hit at bats as a designated hitter, but you got to know your time and situation there. Boudris was there in plenty of time. Just let the guys who take that kind of practice every day, let them take care of that ball. The only Beacons pitchers who really should be potentially calling for it, Joey Rogers, the guy who started in center field this year, Fernando Burgos, who's just a freak athlete and can play some short if needed.
So here's Jared Rosenblatt, grounded out to third back in the second inning. He will step up with 2 outs and a runner on first. Another check back to first from Aruda. Rosenblatt digs in on the right side. Aruda comes set and goes back to first again. Really not a big lead over there at first for Eric LeCaire, but they're keeping him honest anyway.
And honestly, that might just be Aruda trying to settle down after running over and losing his cap and nearly losing his balance. That's just sometimes a tactic pitchers will use to settle themselves down if they're not ready to go to the plate.
Okay, 21 stolen bases on the year, so you want to keep an eye on him, but they had maybe 2 steps off the bag at first. Really does not have a big lead. They got him leaning the wrong way there, but again, just so close to that first base bag. I don't know if we can go to that high angle before the pitch. You can see just exactly how small that lead is. He's barely halfway through the cut, and you see it there on the right side of your screen. Here's the pitch. It's lined hard but foul down the third base line.
Well, that's the issue when you pay that much attention to the base runner. Sometimes your pitch ends up a little bit further over the plate than you would like. With 2 outs in this situation, a runner on first, I'm not as worried about giving up a stolen base if you can get the batter at this point. We did see Western New England score a run in the first inning without a hit, a walk, 2 stolen bases, and a ground out. So certainly they're willing to run.
Pitch out, throw down a second. Hops over the glove of Hughey in the center field. Pinellas there to back up. It's going to be the 22nd stolen base of the year for Eric LeCaire.
Western New England now 3 for 3 on the base pass. A pitch out, and the Beacon still couldn't get him. Harrington's throw ended up hitting the cleat of the base runner and popping out into shallow center. Fortunately, Pinellas was aware to the play and backing it up. Otherwise, there could be a runner at third base with 2 down.
Rosenblatt ahead in the count, 2-1 with 2 outs. Runner now in scoring position. Check back to second. Here's the pitch. And it ran in and hit him. So put another one on for Tyler Aruda.
And this could be Aruda's last batter if he's unable to get, where are we, the 7th spot now,
Yep.
Nussbaum?
Yep.
If he's unable to get Nussbaum, and even a little surprised they're not coming to get him right now.
Yeah, I looked right to the dugout.
Because Nussbaum's, again, I mean, he's hitting 7th, but he's got 6 doubles, a triple, and 5 home runs. This is a guy who could hit a 3-run shot right now, and all of a sudden you're down 6 runs in the third.
First pitch is swung on and popped foul. Nussbaum's the one who hit that lazy fly ball to left center field in the second inning that ended up falling for a double. And he would come around to score the second run of the game. Runner on second is LeCaire. Rosenblatt on first. Aruda turns to second. Oh, that's going to be close, but back in time by a hair is LeCaire. Didn't mean to rhyme that.
The Beacons are playing Nussbaum deep. Sessory's a few feet shy of the warning track and left. Pinellas is deep and shaded towards the right field line, as is Herzog.
0-1's hitting to right field. Going back is Herzog looking up. Turns. That ball is gone. 3-run home run for Zach Nussbaum. And the Golden Bears have blown this one open. It's going to be 7-1.
Well, I hate to say it, but that wasn't that surprising. The way Aruda has pitched, he's been giving up good contact. You're looking at a guy who's looking to drive the ball, and Nussbaum just uncorks the pitch. The good news for UMass Boston is you're in the top of the third inning. You have a great bullpen that's pretty rested as Brendan Eigerbout's going to come and get Aruda 1 batter too late. if the Beacons bullpen can hold Western New England 1 or 2 runs over the next 3 or 4 innings, the Beacons can get back into this game. But this is not the kind of start you wanted out of Arruda, knowing that if you make a deep run in the LEC tournament next week, he's going to get the ball in Game 3 or Game 4. Maybe you already have a loss to your name in the double elimination tournament. Maybe it comes down to whether you advance to the next game or go home. And he's coming off his worst start of the season.
Well, there is maybe something to be said for he's getting the bad start out of the way here before tournament. We'll see. New pitcher coming on for the Beacons. We'll be back with Arruda's final line and his stats.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
Chris Monroe is the new pitcher for the Beacons. He is making his 13th appearance, 4.02 ERA. He is yet to record a decision this year.
You look at Monroe, for the Beacons, sophomore right-hander who comes in at 5'8", 185 out of Marshfield, Mass. Pitched pretty well early on in the season. Struggled a little bit. 12 appearances, 15 2/3 innings, 12 hits, 7 runs, 7 earned, 13 strikeouts versus 7 walks is allowed, just 2 extra base hits, a double and a triple. Opponents hitting .222 against him. And right now, if you're Monroe, the good news is this isn't a pressure situation. There's no one on. You're already down 6, but it is a big spot if you're UMass Boston. He's got to give you 2 scoreless innings, 3 innings with just the 1 run. The Beacons cannot afford to continue seeing Western New England put up crooked numbers if they have any chance to come back into this game. Because all of a sudden, Western New England senses a chance, hey, we have a chance to get a big regionally ranked win. We have a chance to get a win against a nationally ranked opponent. Can give us a lot of firepower heading into this weekend's Commonwealth Coast Conference tournament.
Aaron Rios is the batter. He singled, drove in a run back in the second. The final line on Arruda, 2 2/3 innings, 7 runs. They were all earned as this one is inside for a ball. 7 earned runs on 6 hits. 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 1 hit batter through 66 pitches, 39 of them for strikes. He is on the hook for the loss. One is fouled back by Rios. Count goes to 2-2. All this being said, just 6 batters sent to the plate this inning by Western New England. 4 runs. They scored once in the first, twice in the second, and 4 times in the third. So they're on pace to score 8 times in the fourth. And the math beyond there is a little tricky to do off the top of my head.
But the big thing for me is they scored 5 of their 7 runs thus far with 2 outs.
Yeah.
You look at the second inning, hypothetically, both of those runs could have come off the board. And there, if he's able to get Nussbaum, so that's the positive. If you're Daniel Gamble, the Beacons pitching coach, you can go over with Arruda. The negative is he wasn't able to get that 3rd out.
Able to get the 3rd out, though, is Monroe as he strikes out Rios to mercifully end the inning. But 4 runs on 3 hits. No errors, nobody left on base. We have played 2.5. It's Western New England 7, UMass Boston 1. Keep it here. You're watching UMass Boston's baseball on beaconathletics.com.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader. All those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
The new pitcher for Western New England is Jeremy Morris. Comes in with a record of 1-2, his 8th total appearance, and 7th time out of the bullpen. A 7.36 ERA for the junior out of Montrose, New York. 5'11", 175. Attended the Hendrick Hudson High School. Alex, it must be a staff day today for Western New England because Vigliotti pitched quite well. And for Western New England, it makes sense. You're going into your conference tournament. You don't want to waste too many arms. You had 4 conference games this weekend, but for UMass Boston, it makes it easier and harder because you're not going to get to see a guy for as long, but maybe you're going to see some arms who are a little bit more hittable.
Final line on Vigliotti, 2 innings, 1 run it was earned, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, walked 1. He had no surprise to see him come out a little early because he's a reliever. He made 6 appearances this year, all out of the bullpen, but thought maybe he had another inning in him after setting the side down 1-2-3, but he gets 1 trip through the lineup. And then they go to Morris.
Morris, in 11 innings of work, a 7.36 ERA, 16 hits, 10 runs, 9 earned, 6 strikeouts versus 4 walks. Opponents hitting .340 against him.
So if the Beacons want to start a comeback, this is the guy to do it against as the count goes to 2-2, and they'll do it. They'll start at least with the top of the order, Ryan McCormick, Kyle Boudris, and Dave Murphy. If anybody reaches Chris Fowler here in the third. McCormick singled on the first pitch he saw, came around to score back in the first. He chops this one to third. It gets by Rosenblatt. It eats up Leparco, and it's going to be another reach for McCormick. And they're going to call it an error on the shortstop.
Yeah, that's a tough one. We'll take a look on the replay and see if that's the right call. But the issue there for Western New England is that Rosenblatt ran in front of Leparco. Leparco wasn't expecting the ball, and then he bobbled it. It's a really difficult play when you have a fielder going right in front of your face. Sometimes it causes you to make a mistake on a play you'd normally be able to make.
So here's Kyle Boudris as the first pitch from Morris is up and away. Boudris grounded out to the first baseman in his first at-bat. But here's a guy that can put the ball in play, hitting .333, 2 home runs, 32 RBI. And he cranks this one into left field. That is going to drop for a base hit. Scooting up to second is McCormick, and there's 2 on with nobody out.
Well, just like Cesare for UMass Boston, Western New England's LaCroix playing very deep out in left field, and that allowed a ball to drop in front. And now you have a great situation if you're in UMass Boston. 2 on, no outs for your 2 big home run hitters. You don't need a home run here, but a home run gets you right back into this game. And I'm sure what the Beacons staff is telling Dave Murphy right now, hit within yourself. Don't try to drive this one over the monster. Just a clean line drive swing, and the ball might get out anyways the way the wind has blown out today all day at Monon Park.
First pitch is outside for a ball. The wind really is whipping out right now. Those flags out in right center field are straight out. It's varying left to right field, but no matter what, the wind's going to help the hitter. Morris, by the way, has allowed 1 home run this year in 11 innings of work as that pitch is in there for a strike.
A lot of change-ups early on from Morris. He's relying on the breaking balls, which means if the Beacons can sit on something a little bit slower and be a little bit more patient, might be able to drive a pitch and really hit the ball into a tough spot for the Western New England defense. That's the most difficult part for opposing teams coming here to Monon. covering all of this outfield ground and being cognizant of all the little nooks and crannies. It's easy to see it on TV. It's another thing to actually be able to play it here at Monon Park.
The 2-1 to Murphy is outside. And I will say this, if Murphy can't drive the ball, the second baseman, Rios, is playing almost immediately behind the bag, and they have Nussbaum holding the guy on first. So they are giving Murphy the whole side right there to just kind of punch the ball through if he can get one off the end of the bat. See if he has the green light on the 3-1. He does not. It's going to be strike 2, and the count goes full.
And I don't know why you're holding Boudreaux over at first base. He is not a guy who looks to steal very frequently, and part of the reason that he came out of the field defensively was because of a leg injury, which has slowed him down a little bit even more.
And a lot of room in that right field gap. Here's the payoff pitch. High ball 4. He walked him, and the bases are loaded. So Chris Fowler, the cleanup hitter, this is what you want. This is why you bat the guy fourth, because odds are he's going to come up with the bases loaded. And Fowler hitting .377. He has played in and started every game for the Beacons, so that number's not inflated due to lack of chances. He has 5 home runs, 2 triples, 15 doubles, driven in 36. Can make it an even 40 for the year here if he gets a hold of one. And there's strike 1 from Morris.
And Fowler's the league leader in RBI in the Little East Conference, one of the premier conferences in all of New England. 5 of the 14 teams ranked last week's NCAA New England regional rankings were from the Little East. So a guy who leads the conference, clearly a big power threat. An honorable mention All-American a season ago. And what I like about Fowler is Fowler goes the opposite way so frequently. He's not afraid to go with the pitch rather than trying to pull everything over the short porch in right field.
Outfield playing very deep accordingly as that one misses and the count goes to 2-1. Rios has moved back a little more towards second base side, but with the left-handed hitter, you'd expect him to be over a bit more. And again, they still have Nussbaum almost right on the bag. He is playing inside of Dave Murphy, who does not have a very big lead at first. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's outside ball 3. And now I think you have to give Chris Fowler the green light.
Well, what's interesting to me is Western New England has no one up at this point. So, now they have a lefty who just started throwing. But this is likely Morris is hitting one way or another, and this could get ugly fast.
3-1 is in there for a strike. Fowler had taken a couple steps, so back-to-back full counts here for Chris Monroe. Nobody out. Bases full of Beacons. McCormick on third, Boudreaux on second, and Murphy on first.
Yeah, Morris got lucky. That looked a little high and a little outside.
Here's the pitch. Foul back. Fowler able to stay alive. That looked like, if the pitch before was a strike, that was a strike. And I think that's
the
why
problem.
Fowler's swinging.
It might have been a little bit further off the plate, but Fowler wasn't going to take strike 3 in that situation. And Morris got lucky because I don't think he hit with the first pitch, and that second pitch was likely ball 4 again. But Fowler has to recognize the strike zone being called.
19 strikeouts and 130 at-bats for Fowler. This won't be 20. It's ball 4. And Chris Morris has walked in a run.
Sometimes that's the hardest thing as a hitter, especially a guy who's relied upon to take ball 4 when you want to drive the ball. Nice job by Fowler working that at bat just like Murphy did. And here's a guy who doesn't get the same kind of accolades because he's not a home run hitter, but Herzog has been tremendous with the bases loaded or runners in scoring position throughout his career. And he has hit some big game-winning hits, or even, I don't think he has a grand slam in his career, but he certainly has a couple of bases-clearing doubles for UMass Boston. They try to get right back in this game. That's huge, to not give up any further damage in the top half. If you can get 2 more runs back in this half inning, all of a sudden you feel good about yourself going to the 4th.
24 driven in on the year for number 34. That's a chopper to short. Steps on the bag for 1. Double play.
Yeah, it's the last thing you wanted. And even with Herzog.
Run does score, though.
Yeah, with Herzog as fast as he is, he's not going to beat that out because it was hit right at the shortstop. And a nice, smart move by Leparco, keeping it himself rather than potentially throwing it to the second baseman. Maybe there's a bobble, you only get 1. So now it's up to Cesare, potential wild pitch, even a pass ball for the Beacons to get that all-important 3rd run of the inning.
Murphy moves up to 3rd. He's the lone base runner. That one is outside for a ball.
I love the ESPN probabilities for when you have X amount of runners on with X amount of outs. In my mind, and I don't have the ESPN probabilities written down, I certainly don't have the mathematical possibilities. In a situation where you have the bases loaded and no outs, you have to score 2 runs.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter what the score is. That's a bare
Because
minimum.
realistically, if you're giving up an out for a run, you should still score twice. Even if you decide, okay, we're only going to sacrifice here, you should still have 2 runs. And if that stayed fair, that was going to be the second run. But Cesare pulls it just foul. Count goes to 2-1.
So now the Beacons, even if they've gotten the 2 runs back, they're going to feel as if they didn't do as well as they could have, that they didn't actually get this inning going the way it should have been if they don't score this run that's out there at third base. So that early hole really puts them in a bad spot if they're not able to come through.
Hit into left field, heading back towards the walls. LaCroix is going to come in on it now, and he finds it to make the play for the 3rd out of the inning. The Beacons load them up. They do get 2 on 1 hit and 1 error, a couple of walks as well. They're coming. They came early. They're coming off, and the run's up on the board. 7 for Western New England, 3 for UMass Boston. We'll be right back here on BeaconAthletics.com.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
It is going to be the 2nd inning of work for Chris Monroe for the Beacons. He will face the 9-1-2 hitters, Brian Valeriano, Jamie Schofield, and Alex Loparco. If anybody reaches Eric LeCaire. Valeriano is 1 for 1. He drove in a run with a single back in the 2nd. Beacons got a couple. There's only been 1.5 inning in which a team didn't score. That was the bottom of the 2nd. And Monroe looks to slow things down a little bit. They've yet to hold Western New England to a goose egg. 1 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, and 4 in the 3rd.
And before we came out, you saw Jeff Zabrowski warming up for Western New England, a guy who's one of their more trusted relievers, has already made 11 appearances, 2nd on the team. The lefty probably will come in for the 4th. I don't think they're going to give Mars the 2nd inning after he gave up the 2 runs. His control was a little bit off. And honestly, if Cesare had hit that ball a little bit less off the end of the bat, I think that's a little bit of wall ball, maybe even over the monster. I'm not sure how much of it he actually caught, but with the way the wind's blowing out, it was a bit surprising it didn't get to the wall the way this game has gone.
Monroe working from the stretch, even with nobody on. Here's the 3-0. Got to get this one across, and he does. 4 strike 1.
This has been the Beacons' problem. Their pitchers have pitched from behind a lot, and Western New England's been able to sit on pitches, hit the ball hard, and for the most part, where the Beacons aren't.
Grounded foul down the 3rd baseline. That will fill the count up. Monroe faced just 1 batter in the 2nd. He struck out Alex Rios looking. Now gets a full count here. Looked like when we cut to the bullpen, the Beacons had somebody warming up as well. But I would imagine they'll give Monroe at least a full inning after facing just 1 batter in the 2nd. The payoff pitch is low for ball 4, and he walked the 9-hitter Valeriano. So another walk. We've seen quite a few walks in this game. Figliotti had 1. Arruda had 1. There were 2 in the 3rd issued by Morris. And now the first walk of the game issued by Monroe. So every pitcher to enter this game has given up a free pass as The Golden Bears go back to the top of the lineup for the third time through. And Jamie Schofield steps in from the left side. Schofield has walked. He also flew out to right, but to be fair, he probably had hit taken away from him by Nick Herzog. An excellent diving catch to end the second inning, as this one is in there for a strike.
And you look at Monroe, he's a guy who typically goes at least an inning, if not more than that. So this is a situation where you'd like to see him go at least throughout this entire inning, maybe even another inning. He's either been really sharp this year, throwing quite a few outings where he hasn't given up a run, and then there's 3 instances where he's given up 2 earned runs against MIT and SUNY Oswego early in the year, and then gave up 3 hits and 2 earned runs the other day in an inning in the third against Plymouth State on Saturday. So the Beacons hope they're getting the good Monroe.
Runner goes, throw down a second, and it's another. No, no, he's safe. Looked for a second like the umpire was going to punch him out, but it looked like Valeriano beat the throw in. Second stolen base of the day for the Western New England catcher.
Yeah,
catcher speed.
Well, you know that this is really the MO of this Western New England team when you're setting the catcher in this spot, especially with the top of the order, no outs. You feel pretty confident about generating a run, and they're running the catcher. They've stolen, 5 bases in 5 attempts at this point?
Yep.
Until Harrington's able to throw someone out, they're not going to think twice.
Schofield got him looking with the curveball. Schofield takes a second there to look back as Monroe picks up his second strikeout of the game, both looking, and Harrington's going to go out real quick to talk about how they're going to deal with Leparco. He had a triple to lead off the third. That was the ball that hit off a pole behind the wall. And you see the size differential there. Normally it's the other way between a catcher and a pitcher, but you have Harrington towering over Monroe. Stands just 5'8". Harrington at 6'4".
Well, the Beacons have a couple of guys who aren't all that tall on the mound, but they're also some of the Beacons' better pitchers. Bobby Tremendozi, their closer, not all that tall, but he's one of the best closers in the conference. And even Fernando Burgos, the Beacons' number 2 starter. This guy probably stands under 6 foot, but diminutive in stature, a really strong pitcher. I think you see that a little bit more in Division III, where they're guys who maybe have great stuff but who've fallen through the cracks because they don't look like they're a D1 pitcher.
First pitch of the at-bat is in there for a strike to Leparco. The runner on second is Valeriano. I wouldn't be past him maybe going to third if he reads breaking ball.
Well, I think that's also what the Beacons battery was talking about. Hey, can we find a way to keep him from stealing another base?
Expect a lot of fastballs here. You don't want to give him something that's going to take a little longer to the plate. Took a running start towards third, but held up on the fastball. You're going to say that Leparco did not swing. Count goes to 1-1.
Look at the first meeting between these two sides. And Western New England was limited to 2 stolen bases on 2 attempts. Ryan McCormick was behind the plate. McCormick has a better arm than Harrington. That's one of the reasons he won the starting job, but not a better arm to the point that was the only reason they weren't going. So I don't know what the difference was, because UMass Boston, they did only give up 3 hits, but they gave up 7 walks. So there were base runners abound for Western New England. Just maybe weren't as aggressive in that game at home.
The 1-1 is hit hard, but right to the shortstop. Hughie throws for the second out of the inning. Maybe had a chance to apply the tag, though.
I think he should have just gone to third. Take the lead runner in that situation. Maybe Boudreaux wasn't close enough to the bag. That's the only thing that is possible in my mind. You had the runner taking off on contact on a ball that was hit in front of him and bringing Hughie forward. That was a poor base running decision. And again, just a little bit of hypothetical, if Western New England scores here on a single, it's something the Beacons are going to look at and say, we gave Western New England an extra run. I get taking the safe out, but down by 4, sometimes you have to be a bit more aggressive defensively to keep yourself in games.
First pitch to LeCaire, a strike. He's 1 for 2 with a couple of RBIs. It's just a throw that a lot of shortstops aren't accustomed to making, and not to say that Charlie Hughie isn't aware of the situation or isn't a heads-up player, but sometimes the natural instinct is just to go to first. You never really think of throwing to third. It's not something you're prepared to do. It's not something you practice on.
Well, it's funny. I've been watching a lot of softball where you do go after the lead runner constantly because it is a game of inches, but also I play a lot of summer softball, and I play on the left side of the infield. We try to get the lead runner anyway.
You know all about it.
But it's not the baseball play. I still think The Beacons get out of it without any troubles. I still think that would have been the wise play there if the third baseman was on the bag, and that's hindsight right now. We're going to get a pitching change. We saw Zabrowski running out of the right field bullpen.
So we'll get to that on the other side. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Monroe's second and third of the game. No hits, no runs, no errors, 1 man left on base. We've played 3.5. It's 7-3 Golden Bears.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Got a new pitcher for Western New England. It's Jeff Zabrowski, as they'll go with a lefty here against UMass Boston. Trying to provide a different look. Zabrowski, a sophomore out of South Hadley, Mass. Attended Chicopee High School. 5'11", 185. 0-2 on the season. Zabrowski, as I mentioned, one of the more used relievers on this team, making his 12th appearance. Just 13 1/3 innings, though. Has 2 saves, which is second best on the team, 14 hits, 7 runs, 5 earned, 11 strikeouts versus 6 walks. Is allowed 2 doubles and a home run. Opponents hitting .286 against him.
The final line on Jeremy Morris lasted 1 inning, allowed 2 runs, neither of which was earned on 1 hit. No strikeouts, did issue a couple of walks.
The walks were what killed him. Realistically, UMass Boston wasn't able to pick up a hit with a runner in scoring position. There's that big cut from Penales. Just trying to rear back and crush the ball, and I don't know if that's something the Beacons can make a change on right now or if ever. I mean, Penales coming as a junior transfer, but he's going to have a lot more success if he's not trying to crush the ball.
Takes this one away. Count goes to 1-2. He struck out to lead off the second inning on a 1-2 count.
I mean, I don't have the sabermetric numbers of what his batting average is on balls in play, but he's 24 of 90 coming in with 42 strikeouts. So if you take out the 42 strikeouts, he's 24 of about, 48?
About to pull out the calculator.
So 90 minus 42, I think, is 48. So he's hitting 500 when he puts the ball in play. Put the ball on the ground.
Right.
Find a way. You're so fast. I mean, I'm so jealous of some of these elite athletes, and it's just refining the game. It's not easy to do. The other thing is don't put the ball in the air because you're more likely to get out that way.
He puts this one in play, but mile high and a right coming over Schofield. He found it late, though. He does make the catch, but there you go again. Light towers here, little shorter, it seems like the guys are used to. That was another ball that got up above the lights, and Schofield had to adjust late.
This lead is not safe right now for Western New England. That's the most obvious thing to me. Even at 7-3, you just can't feel confident because with the wind blowing out, maybe you get a walk, a single, a hit by pitch. All of a sudden, you hit one into the jet stream, and you have a tie game.
Jack Harrington swings and misses. The Beacons catcher is 0 for 1. He'll try to get on. It has been 3 in a row retired by Western New England pitching. 5 in a row without a hit. 2 reached on errors as Harrington twists out of the way of a breaking ball. Count goes to 1-1.
The other thing for UMass Boston is they've got to get this 7-8-9 working right now. That means Pinellas has to put the ball in play. Harrington not typically in the lineup, but today they're going to need some production with that early deficit. You're going to need Harrington to get on once or twice. You're going to need Hughie to be that spark that he can be. We've talked about it coming in. UMass Boston with 30 runs over their last 6, just 5 runs per game from an offense that at one point was top 10 in the country, top 5 in the country in runs per game. So for UMass Boston, this has to be a group effort. One guy is not going to decide this game. But this group, 7-8-9, went down 1-2-3 in the second, and you can't give Western New England another free pass here in the fourth.
You can even go up to the 6th spot where Anthony Cesare is 0-for-2. The bottom 4 hitters are a combined 0-for-6 as Harrington watches that ball go wide. The top of the order is done well. McCormick's reached twice. Boudris has reached and scored. Murphy's reached and scored. Fowler's reached twice. Herzog has reached once and drove in a run. So the top 5 doing well. It's the bottom 4 that have given the Beacons issues so far today as they go through the lineup for the second time. As a big swing and a miss from Jack Harrington evens the count up at 2-2.
Well, all he'd seen was breaking balls, and then he sees the fastball, and it just rides past him a little too quickly. Let's see if Harrington can adjust here for potentially another fastball at 2-2. That was close.
Yeah, I was waiting for the umpire to signal something, and
it definitely came in low, but it looks like it might have came through the strike zone to end up out of the zone. Harrington may be lucky to have a little bit of extra life.
You heard the cries from the Western New England dugout. Here's the payoff pitch, and he'll get another one as he fouls this out of play. No, is it coming back? No, that is out of play off of the Western New England dugout. Rosenblatt kind of made a move like that ball was going to blow back in, and the way the wind's blowing, it is possible, but just maybe a foot or two outside of the netting.
I mean, it definitely came back. It looked like it was going to end up on the lacrosse/soccer/football field. Did come back over the netting, just not far enough.
Here's the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him with the outside fastball. 2 up, 2 down for the Beacons. Here comes Charlie Hughie. He's 0-for-1 with a strikeout.
And Edward McGavin behind the plate, because we've seen him call a couple of those pitches that are maybe a little bit off the plate to left-handed hitters on the outside half. We've seen both Harrington and Fowler extend the zone a little bit, protecting. I think that pitch that was fouled off by Harrington likely was ball 4, but he felt he had to protect with a full count. And that's caused the Beacons to swing at some pitches outside the zone, to hit into some outs. I think both times Harrington has swung at a pitch that was probably a ball, but he felt like he had to protect. A ground out and now a strikeout.
Hughie quickly down 0-2. Charlie came into the game hitting .278. And quickly finds himself in an 0-2 hole with 2 outs. Almost swung at that one. Remember, he went down in the first at-bat. He was up 3-1 and then swung at back-to-back pitches that looked like that. We're well out of the strike zone. Little more discipline here. Count goes to 1-2. Western New England, 7 runs on 6 hits. Beacons, 3 runs on 3 hits. Looking to start to trim this lead as that one comes in on Hughie for ball 2.
Yeah, but a lot of Western New England players thought it was strike 3. Rosenblatt took about 3 steps towards the third base bag. He was ready to head into the dugout, get the batting gloves on. Been a couple of pitches that have just missed here in the bottom of the 4th.
We hit the bottom of the 9 o'clock, top of the 9 o'clock hour here in Boston. That's ball 3. That one got away from Zabrowski, so I'm pounding the mitt. Was not happy about where that pitch ended up.
Hughie, a guy who has only struck out 16 times this year in 115 at bats, trying to avoid back-to-back strikeouts.
And he can't do so. Gets caught looking on the inside. He's going to stand there for an extra second, try to recreate it. But it's another 1-2-3 inning by the Beacons. 7, 8, 9 hitters. No hits, no runs, no errors. Nobody left on base. 4 innings in the books. Western New England 7, UMass Boston 3 here on BeaconAthletics.com.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
We go to the top of the fifth. We'll look around Beaconville. You see the baseball result there at the top. Softball tomorrow morning. That's a big game. Number 6 versus number 1. Anytime there's 2 hashtags in the game, you know that it is a big game. And, of course, opener of the conference tournament, that doesn't hurt the stakes either.
No, that's actually a match with last year's championship series. The Beacons, as a 4 seed, defeated Plymouth State twice in softball. That top score is actually lacrosse. The Beacons fell in the LAC quarterfinals. And men's tennis, one of the 3 Beacons teams who won their tournament championship last year, softball, baseball, and men's tennis, opens up their conference tournament tomorrow at the Weymouth Club when they host Rhode Island College. So a busy week here. Baseball, the only team who's not yet reached postseason play. They'll open next week. They're guaranteed of a top 2 seed, just trying to wrap up a number 1 seed on Friday.
This is when college athletics, Seth, people in your line of work get the busiest here. First week of May, first 2 weeks of May, you get everything wrapping up at once as this is hit into center field. It's going to get down for a single. Joey Casella thinking about 2 as that ball really rolled on Wanderson Pinales, and it's a leadoff double.
Well, I don't know what the scouting report is on Casella, but the Beacons had Pinales way left of the second base bag and Herzog playing straightaway right, and there was a huge hole right up the middle. As soon as the ball got by Murphy, I wasn't surprised to see Casella heading for second. And, I mean, honestly, he had a chance for 3 there if the Beacons didn't get over as quickly, as that was just a really weird defensive alignment from UMass Boston's coaching staff.
It's like Michael Doherty warming up in the Beacons bullpen, as this is the second full inning of work for Monroe. He got the final out of the second, pitch the entire third. Now here in the fourth, gets a ground ball hit to second, Murphy to first for the out, but the runner advances on the play.
It's just a nice job by LaCroix. We've seen Western New England do this all day long. They've been able to move base runners with 0 or 1 outs into scoring position up an extra base, and now if Rosenblatt can hit a long fly ball, all of a sudden the lead pushes back to 8-3, and UMass Boston has a little bit of a deeper hole to dig themselves out of.
Rosenblatt got hit by a pitch back in the third. What you don't want is guys on for Zach Nussbaum. He already has a double and a home run in this game. He is on deck.
It was a deep homer out to right field. One of the rare balls hit over into the bullpen in the visitors' bullpen.
There's a no-doubter as that ball is low and away. Rosenblatt was hit by a pitch and scored on the home run. He also grounded out to third. Third time through the order here for the Golden Bears as we sit in the top of the fifth. Monroe kicks and delivers. Got him swinging at the breaking ball for strike one. That was a nice pitch. That was one of the best pitches we've seen on the night from Monroe.
He's thrown a couple of really nice curveballs today. Monroe's done a better job of keeping Western New England off balance. They haven't been able to sit on one pitch. Big part of that is he's been ahead in counts. Ruda really ran into trouble in 2 of his 3 innings from just getting behind batters consistently, but we've also seen him work in some really nice breaking stuff, which has kept the Western New England batters honest.
Harrington sets up outside. Here's the 1-1. It is outside high as well, ball 2.
Going back to the fastball, just couldn't locate it. It's a big change in velocity, and that's what you want to see. You want to make things difficult on these batters. Change the eye level, change the velocity, just make it difficult so they're not able to square pitches up.
Hit foul, chopper behind the third base bag. Count evens up at 2.
So the Beacons have gone off-speed, fastball, off-speed. Now do you go back to the fastball and potentially allow the hitter to sit on that, or do you really just throw a pitch into the turf there in front of home plate and see if you can get him to chase?
They have a pitch to use. I wonder if they set him up with the off-speed and then come back up and in with the fastball.
It's a great guessing game of baseball.
Here's the 2-2. Catcher sets up outside. It comes up and in, and it's chopped foul again. Now I go away. You've given him back-to-back looks inside. You've maybe got him backed off the plate a little bit. I try to hit that lower outside corner.
I try to just get a curveball right in front, maybe 6 inches in front of home plate. Trust Harrington to block it. See if we can get a swing and a miss.
Remember, there's a runner on third here with 1 out. So if it gets by Harrington, it's going to mean another run for the Golden Bears. And again, fouled down the third base line. Just a little early on everything here. Jared Rosenblatt trying to time up Monroe.
I want to give myself some credit. That ball was close
to
hitting the turf. That was the curveball. It's one of the few times that I actually guessed right.
Oh, good job.
Now I think you're going fastball. I think you're right. You go underneath the hands, and you see if he can actually time it up after being so far ahead in all those breaking balls.
I feel like if he hits it, he's just going to pop it up in the infield. Here's the 2-2. They go away with it. That was the changeup, and it's fouled back to the netting. This time he was late. You don't often see late on a changeup, but
you don't often see a changeup in that situation.
That's true. So we stay at 2-2 again. Monroe still has a pitch to work with if he wants. Runner on third, 1 out, top of the 5th. Here's the pitch to Rosenblatt. He grounds this one foul.
Yeah, awkwardly foul, too. That ball may be a number off the end of the bat. We've yet to mention this, which it's amazing it took us this long, but the infield's in right now for UMass Boston with just the 1 out and the runner at third. Beacon's trying to keep this at a 4-run game. Monroe thus far has done what I was hoping out of him. Go 2 or 3 innings and give up just 1 run. Don't let them blow the lead up any further. If he can give up just that 1 runner, not a run, he would get out of it. That pitch was very close, but Harrington had to adjust the glove. Maybe that was enough to get it called ball 3.
Don't mind that pitch, though, because if he hits that, it's a number off the end of the bat. And again, Monroe had the one to work with. Here we go. Pitch number 10 of the at-bat on the way as Monroe makes sure he gets his footing set. Rosenblatt steps out, now steps back in the righty-on-righty matchup. Runner on third, 3-2 count, 1 out. Monroe to the plate. Chopped foul again. We'll go 11 pitches.
Great battle right now between Rosenblatt and Monroe. Monroe is not giving in. Seen him throw just maybe 1-2 fastballs in this at-bat, and that's what Rosenblatt's looking for. So we'll see what Monroe elects to do here. Daniel Gamble, the Beacons pitching coach, the one who's sending the signs in.
Monroe had 25 pitches coming into this at-bat, and he loses them, ball 4. So after an 11-pitch at-bat, Jared Rosenblatt earns the walk, and this is where the Beacons didn't want to be. 2 on, 1 out. Zach Nussbaum coming to the plate. Nussbaum doubled in the second, hit a 3-run, no-doubt home run in the third. This is his first time facing Monroe.
But I don't hate this in that it sets up the double play.
Yep.
Nussbaum is clearly not one of their faster guys. You just look at him. He wants to hit the ball out of the park. Saw it with his last at-bat. Also, he's got 1 stolen base on the year on a team that steals religiously. So this is a guy, if you can get him to ground it on the infield, you can probably turn 2 and get out of the inning, but it's not going to be Monroe's responsibility. Looks like it's going to be the lefty it's Mike Doherty. Difficult there. Thought they might bring in the lefty matchup, but they'll go with Doherty, another one of their more reliable relievers, as they just try to keep this game from bleeding away early.
So 8 batters face from Monroe. We'll have his final line and Doherty's numbers on the other side. Keep it here. You're watching Beacons Baseball on beaconathletics.com.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
UMass Boston will go with another youngster. It's Mike Doherty for the Beacons, freshman out of Brewster, Mass. Attended Nauset Regional High School, 6 foot 240. Former high school football player, has been one of the Beacons' better relievers this year. A guy who does occasionally give up the long ball, though, so that's something to watch with home run hitter like Nussbaum. Doherty on the season making his 12th appearance, 2-0, 3.50 ERA, 18 innings pitched, 12 hits, 7 runs, 7 earned, 13 strikeouts versus 4 walks. He hasn't given up a double or triple, but has given up 3 home runs. Opponents hitting 197 against him. 12 hits, 3 for home runs. So it's a feast or famine against Doherty this season.
The semifinal line on Monroe, an inning and 2/3. No earned runs, but that's why it's semifinal. He is responsible for the runners on the corners. Allowed 1 hit, struck out 3, walked 2 through 36 pitches, 11 of them coming on that final at-bat, the walk to Jared Rosenblatt. Let's just go back to that at-bat. It felt like the Beacons were starting to get the momentum in this game. They were starting to come back. And after that, Western New England draws that walk, it feels like they've gotten control of the game back in their hands.
Western New England has outfought UMass Boston in this game. They've done a great job. 5 of their first 7 runs all coming with 2 outs, extending some innings. And the other thing is they just haven't given up. They've done a better job of really fighting UMass Boston's pitchers, getting ahead in counts, working with 2 strikes. They had a really good approach, and that's what you want to see going into your conference tournament.
So Nussbaum, a double and a home run. He's driven in 3. And stepping off is Doherty.
Well, that's interesting because with runners at first and third, it does put the double plays in the possibility. So maybe they're worried about Rosenblatt running. But again, he's only 2 for 2. So not a guy with a ton of speed or a guy you expect to see a ton of pitches. As that one nearly went into our camera well down there at third base. Didn't miss by much.
What he did there on that foul ball, Rosenblatt did, he was off on contact. And that would not surprise me to try to break up the double play. That being said, a line drive hit right to an infielder. And you can double him off at first. Here's the 0-1. Fouled back again quickly. Doherty ahead 0-2. That's what you want to see after the Beacons have struggled really throughout the game. Both Aruda and Monroe to get ahead early in counts.
Yeah, but when you talk about a guy who takes these big hacks, you expect a lot of strikeouts. Rosenblatt struck out 12 times in 135 at-bats, so he's not an easy guy to get to go down whiffing.
The 0-2 to Nussbaum. Just got a piece of it, fouls it off the plate. And I think that got a bit of somebody. I think got Harrington. That's normally why the umpire comes out.
Yeah, it definitely got Harrington. Harrington, though, just stayed in that pose because he was frustrated. He thought he had strike 3, and then just enough there to foul tip it as the Beacons will bring a lefty in the pen. I think it's Sal Frashino.
Looks
20. Actually, that's 27, so that might be Piscara. It is Piscara. I thought it originally was 20, but that's for the first time all season long, first time since Monon Park opened. Instead of guessing who's out there, we actually can see the full number.
Mike Doherty from Brewster, Massachusetts, home of the Whitecaps of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Ahead 0-2 on Zach Nussbaum. Looks over to first. Runners on the corners. 1 out. Comes set. Delivers. He struck him out. Got him looking. Strike 3. Big K for the Beacons. Nussbaum retired. 2 down.
That was a perfect breaking ball. He was sitting fastball, and it just totally froze him. We're going to bring you a replay of that pitch before this inning is over. That was a huge second out. You talked about momentum shifting. If Doherty can get out of this frame and the Beacons go back to the top of the order, then you can get another run or 2 across, which they've done when the top of the order has been up. Then all of a sudden you have yourself a game right now, but he's got to get this second out. This is where Western New England has been at their toughest.
Rios, the batter, he's 1 for 2. He drove in a run with a single back in the second as the first pitch is low for a ball. Again, still runners on the corners. Joe Casella led things off with a double. It feels like it was an hour ago. He is on third. Jared Rosenblatt on first.
Well, we started this game late. We started at 7:30 instead of 7:15, but this game has still not moved quickly.
No.
About an hour and 45 minutes here in the top of the 5th inning.
We've got 6 or 7 walks, 6 walks.
And they're not 4-pitch walks.
No.
We've seen a couple of really lengthy at-bats.
1-1 is grounded to second. This could be the inning. Murphy is just going to flip it over to Hughie, and that will do it. Beacons get out of the jam as Western New England strands 2 on the corners. No runs on 1 hit, and no errors in the inning. We have played half of a game, 4.5, here in Boston. It is Western New England 7, UMass Boston 3 on the Beacon broadcast.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
First pitch runs in and hits Ryan McCormick, the leadoff hitter. And are they going to say he didn't try to get out of the way? Because it looked like he twisted. Yeah, and that's the case he's making right now.
And that's the case that the Beacons' first base coach and head coach are all making. And we're going to take a look at the replay if we can get it.
You can only do so much. I mean, the ball's coming at you quick.
They're going to say he turned into the pitch.
Are they saying it was a strike, or are they saying that when he turned, he swung the bat?
I think they said that he turned into it, which I know that's a point of emphasis, but I still don't like it. Should be 1-0. That looked like a ball.
It is 1-0, but
see if the Beacons can use the umpiring decision to battle here. And we'll take a look at that replay after this next pitch. As I really don't think that he turned into that enough to not send him down to first base.
So we jump right into it here. It's McCormick, Boudris, and Murphy.
Take a look at the replay right here, and we'll get it from center field, so a decent angle. Zabrowski, he didn't move much.
He didn't move the feet. I think that's what they want you to move the feet. Doesn't matter. He's going to get down to first anyway.
Well, it means Zabrowski throws a couple more pitches, so if anything, it kind of benefits the Beacons.
Ball don't lie. So that'll bring up Kyle Boudris. Zabrowski in for his second inning of work. He got a 1-2-3 inning in the fourth, retiring the bottom of the order in order.
Well, and what you like right now, if you're Western New England, is the Beacons top-heavy with left-handed hitters in the 1, 2, and 4 spot. So he's got a chance to maybe settle down. Beacons have been really good at the top of the order against right-handed hitters. So McCormick's done a great job. He was one of our players we were focused on going in today. He's reached all 3 times in the leadoff spot?
Yep, 3 different ways, single error and a walk. Almost a hit by pitch. Can you do the 7 ways you can reach first base?
I mean, I don't know if I can do it. I'm sure I can rattle them off.
That's what I meant. Could you rattle them off?
Sure, you can get a hit.
Yep.
You can reach on an error. You can reach on a walk. You can reach on a pass ball strikeout.
Yep.
You can reach on a fielder's choice.
Yep.
All right, so I'm at 5. So
you're missing the 2. These are always the last 2. They're related. They're similar.
Hypothetically, you could reach on a block ball 4, right?
That would just be a walk.
Okay. All right. To speed this along, fill the viewers and myself in.
So I'll give you one more hint. They both end in the same word. Fielder blank and catcher blank.
Oh, interference. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's fair. Those are 2 you see the least.
Right. Talking about balks, did you see
I saw you tweet about this. I didn't actually see it.
There was a catcher's balk in the Red Sox game last night.
I did not know that was a thing.
I had never heard of that. A ball got by Christian Vasquez, was still in his vicinity, and with runners on base, he took his mask off and tapped the ball to himself. The catcher, as this is going to be strike 3 to Boudreaux, he gets set down swinging. The catcher cannot use his equipment to play the ball, which, if you think about it, is a good rule. But you just never think you would see that.
Why is the word balk associated with that rather than interference?
Well, it's not interference because interference implies something with the batter. I don't know why it's a balk either. It's a weird term. It should just be
because hypothetically
catcher infraction.
If a fielder throws his glove when they're not going to touch the ball, it's 3 bases. If the ball's getting by you and you throw your glove and it makes contact, it's 3 bases.
No.
So I understand that if you throw your mask or any part of your equipment,
so it wasn't even throwing the mask. He reached behind and used the mask like a shovel to scoop the ball. He popped it up in the air and then caught it with his bare hand.
Oh, I just don't think the umpire should have called that. I mean, realistically, if you're using your mask just to scoop it up, like that, that is one of those arcane baseball rules that was probably written about.
But then, like, where's the line? Who's to say you can't? I guess how else would you use the rest of your equipment? I don't know, but it really was a bizarre thing. It's the second weird incident this year with Christian Vasquez and his mask. The guy is in love with that mask. So he's swing and a miss from Dave Murphy. If you remember back to the fight between the Red Sox and the Yankees, he didn't hold back Tyler Austin because he was too busy adjusting the mask. And he didn't get out in time. It is
look good, play good.
A weird infatuation, that's right. Here is the 0-1 to Murphy. That's in there for a strike. So after a leadoff walk from McCormick, the Beacons get a strikeout from Boudreaux, trying not to squander the inning.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this would be. We've seen Zabrowski do a nice job settling down after the mound visit, but Boudreaux swung at a pitch outside the zone. The Beacons have done that too many times today for strike 3. And now Murphy behind the count. I mean, you can't afford too many scoreless innings here with the way Western New England's capable. Yes, you kept them off the board the last 2 innings, but at some point you're going to expect Western New England to add another run or 2.
McCormick's taken 6 bases this year. See if they try to send him. That was a hittable pitch, but Murphy got under it and fouled it back.
Yeah, I don't expect much movement from McCormick in this spot because McCormick's either hit 2nd or 5th, and when you're hitting in leadoff spot today, but when you're hitting ahead of Murphy and Fowler, the last thing you want to do is run into outs. Both of those guys are extra base hitting machines. You expect that he can score from first on a double, especially if it's into one of the alleys.
Murphy leans out of the way of that. First ball of the at-bat, 1-2. I'll say this. I would put him in motion on contact because the last thing you want here is a momentum-killing double play.
Well, the Beacons have already had one of those today with one of their faster runners.
That was Nick Herzog back in the 3rd. Broke up a bases-loaded, no-out situation. UMass Boston would still score twice in the inning, but left kind of a sour taste in the mouth. You felt like there was more to take there for the Beacons that they didn't get, especially given at the time they were down 7-1. They really could have used a big inning. 2-2 the count, 1 out to Murphy. Was 0-2. He's battled back here to even the count up. And now the count will go full as that one is low and away.
Murphy and Fowler have taken really patient approaches at the plate, not trying to drive balls with runners on in front of them if they're not getting strikes. Murphy's got to make sure that he's swinging a pitch in the zone right now. A walk here is just as good as a ball put in play.
Payoff pitch. Off the end of the bat, lined in the left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Up to second is McCormick. That's a great job of hitting the ball where it's pitched. Murphy took what he got, which was a hanging ball outside, maybe a bit more off the plate than he wanted, but he extends the hands and is able to pull it into left field.
Yeah, and a really nice job by McCormick reading it. It just came too close to the outfielder. Both of these teams play their left fielders extremely deep here at Monon Park, which you see a lot at Fenway, but maybe we know for the Beacons, Cesare is a guy who's transitioned to left field, not a left fielder by trade. It looks like LaCroix might be the same. They don't seem to take comfortable routes to the ball.
First pitch, a slider in there to Fowler for a strike. Fowler is walked twice. He walked with the bases loaded in the 3rd to drive in a run. So he is 0 for 0 with an RBI.
I'm sure he'd like to get a pitch he can actually put it in play right now.
The 0-1 who Fowler is away. Came in hitting .377. Now up to 37 runs driven in. If he can put the ball over the fence, it's an even 40.
Beacons do not have a run-scoring hit at this point. A wild pitch, a walk, and a double play. UMass Boston has not been able to come through in these clutch situations, which is exactly what Western New England has done throughout this contest.
1-2 the count. Lefty on lefty matchup. Catcher sets up outside. Here's the pitch. And it's 2 outside for Fowler's liking. That's ball 2. He thought about it. That ball broke away late, and he read it well.
Yeah, looking at UMass Boston right now, they are 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. And Western New England, it's going to take me a little bit longer because they've had a lot more chances with runners in scoring position, but they've been a bit more effective than the Beacons.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fowler swings through it, strike 3. May have gotten a piece, but it ends up in the mid of Valeriano. 2 down, both by way of the K, and it's up to Nick Herzog now. He grounded into that double play with the bases loaded back in the third. Boy, Beacons get the leadoff man on. They have 2 on, 1 out. It really kind of hurts the cause if you come out of this without a run. You talked earlier in the game, Seth, about the percentages of how likely you are to score in any given situation. You feel like the Beacons should come away with at least 1 this inning.
Especially with this part of the lineup up.
Yeah. So breaking ball catches the outside part for a strike.
So Western New England is 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position. The Beacons
12
now
at-bats already with runners in scoring
position.
position.
Well, they've put a lot of runners in scoring position early on in innings, but still, those 4 at-bats huge right now. And the Beacons, what are they, 0-4 now? And Herzog's behind the count. Give Zabrowski credit. He's got a pretty good fastball, a lot of velocity, and it's got some late-tailing motion. The Beacons hitters just have not been able to hit one of the more reliable pitchers for Western New England out of the pen.
You see where Rios is playing. If he can go the other way with it, that whole side of the infield. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Zabrowski. Retires the side. We've played 5 full in Boston. It is Western New England 7, UMass Boston 3 on BeaconAthletics.com.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
So you take a look around the conference tonight. Everybody else gone final. Plymouth State couldn't play. Southern Maine picks up the win at Bates. How about that game between UMass, Dartmouth, and Tufts? 13-10. Tell you what, those Corsairs love them some high-scoring baseball. The interesting one is Southern Maine. See what happens this weekend. Beacons Magic numbers 2. They'll have a doubleheader. Southern Maine is a doubleheader. Beacons need a combination of 2 wins of their own and losses by Southern Maine to host the tournament. If it's a tie, we go to a coin flip. That is the 5th tiebreaker. And if that doesn't work, sack races will be held on consecutive Sundays until a winner is determined. Does anybody in the press box know what movie that is a reference from? Should all watch Basketball. It's a great movie. 1-0 the count to Brian Valeriamo. It's 9-1-2 for Western New England as that misses for a ball. After Valeriamo, Schofield and Leparco. Mike Doherty is the pitcher. He is on for his first full inning of work. He came in with runners on the corners and 1 out in the 5th and got back-to-back hitters striking out Nussbaum and getting Rios to ground out to second. That's in there for a strike. Count goes to 2-1.
Well, we're not giving up on this game yet from a UMass Boston perspective, but you look at the 6th inning right now, and there's 3 positives thus far. The Beacon's pen has done a great job.
Yep.
The combination of Monroe and now Doherty, and likely we're going to see another guy or two as Doherty's a candidate to pitch on Friday in those must-win games for UMass Boston. You don't want to go back to Gorham, Maine. You won there last year, yes, but you don't want to play Southern Maine at their place. You don't want to have to sleep in a hotel. And you don't want to have to deal with the possibility, which happens every year up in Gorham seemingly, of having to play games where they stop because there's no lights and then have to come back the next morning, which happened to UMass Boston last year. It happened, I think, the last time they were there, maybe the time before that. It just makes it very difficult, which you don't have to deal with here at Monin.
Pinales going over, gets there in time. He makes the catch. That is the second grab of the inning for Pinales. First one tailed right to him. Second one broke away. He had to get on his horse, but he's able to get there in time for the second out of the inning. I'll say this, and you wouldn't really think it was 7 runs on the board, and there have been some defensive miscues, but the Beacons outfield has played a great game today.
Well, I was going to say the second thing is the defense, and I was actually going to spotlight Boudris over there at third. With Eddie Riley out of the lineup today with an ankle injury, also out of the field, it meant Boudris is going to have to go out of there and play the field, which he hasn't done the last 20 games. There's a bunt over testing Boudris. I think he's looked really good. And the third positive is McCormick filling in the leadoff spot for Riley. He's reached all 3 times. The issue for UMass Boston, which we spotlighted it before the game, this offense is not working on all cylinders. The Beacons went through their 15-game winning streak. They've done that the last 3 years, winning 13 games or more, but they weren't hitting their best. And right now, again, the Beacons, they're sputtering on offense, and this is not the time where you want to be struggling. Just 4 hits through 5 frames. UMass Boston cannot be happy with that heading into their 2 most important games of the regular season on Friday against Rhode Island College.
Uncharacteristic for sure. 0-2 count here to Leparco. Doherty sets, kicks, delivers. Just missed.
Just missed where? That pitch came high and was darting down low, but that's on the outside half. I mean, I can't get upset with umpires. This guy's done a pretty nice job behind the plate. It just seems like sometimes these umpires give really tight strike zones on pitches that look like they're going to be out. They make the decision early.
It's been a small strike zone tonight, but it has been consistent. That's really all you can ask for is consistency.
I do love this center field camera. I know we've gotten some texts that the camera's moving a bit. It's windy out there. The camera is connected to a fence that is moving because of the wind a little bit. But it does give us such a great perspective of the strike zone. And also that Wanderson Pinales catch because it was coming right at him.
Yep.
It's fun to see the game from a different perspective. And hopefully on a day with a little bit less breeze, it'll be a little less obnoxious, the movement out there in center. It is a long way away from home plate. If that camera wasn't zoomed in as far, it wouldn't look as bad in terms of the occasional movement.
I wouldn't hold your breath about a non-windy game here at Monin, but you know that better than I do.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about a non-windy day, you're talking about 5 to 10 mile per hour winds versus 25 to 30 mile per hour winds, which we're probably dealing with right now.
I'd say at least that, yeah.
Chance for Doherty right now. If he can get out of this inning, this would be the first 1-2-3 frame for the Golden Bears at the plate today.
He's retired 4 straight, trying to make it 5. He struck him out, got him looking on the outside part of the plate. 1, 2, 3, they go in the 6th. No hits, no runs, no errors. Nobody left on base. We head to the bottom of inning number 6. Beacon's trying to get that offense going. They trail by 4 here on BeaconAthletics.com.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins, not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
It is the bottom of the sixth. The Beacons will send up 6, 7, and 8. This is the part of the lineup that struggled here, Seth. They are combined 0 for 8. Cesare, Pinellas, and Harrington, if anybody reaches Hugie. And they will have to face Zabrowski trying to get something going. Trailing by 4, just 4 hits through 5 innings. It is their third time through the lineup. Count 1-1 to Cesare.
Well, it's surprising to me that Zabrowski's given this much free reign. He's a guy who had 13 1/3 innings just in 11 appearances, so about an inning an appearance. But he's out for his third inning. He's gone an inning plus, or almost 2 innings thus far. I'm not keeping
I'll pull it
book.
up, but I will tell you this: he has gotten 6 outs.
Yeah, so 2
innings. He's gotten 6 outs. 5 of those are strikeouts, as this is grounded to second. Rios down on it, and Cesare is retired. Yeah, he's got 5 strikeouts. He had struck out 5 of the last 7 before that at bat. He's really been dominant. I know it's probably a little more than he's used to pitching, but I think Western New England in that case is just going with the hot hand.
Well, also the Beacons are so heavily left-handed in their lineup. So right now with the Beacons going to the right-handed portion, right-handed hitters 7 and 9, a chance to go to the opposite side, and they'll bring in Connor Scully, who's got, just an ERA of 1.86.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not too shabby. We'll get you more numbers on Connor after this commercial break. But Western New England, they're using some of their heavy horses right now as they try to escape with a win here in Boston.
Like you said, we'll be back with Scully's numbers and Zabrowski's final line.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
Well, I'll say this before we get into Scully. Zabrowski's final line, 2 1/3, 1 hit, no runs, struck out 5 on 47 pitches. Because the starter Vigliotti only went 2 innings and it's scorer's discretion, I think there's a real good chance if the score holds, Jeff Zabrowski gets his first win of the season here tonight.
Oh, I would agree. I think he pitched really well. His second longest outing of the season. He went 2 2/3 innings and picked up a save against St. Olaf down in Florida on March the 24th. That was over a month ago, and he hasn't gone longer than an inning and a third. So a really good performance by him. Now the Beacons have to adjust to not only another pitcher, but to another look. We see Connor Scully stepping out with that pristine ERA. You're going to see it here. He comes in from a very awkward angle, that submariner style. Not quite submarine, but not over the top.
It's sidearm, but he keeps the wrist up.
And it'll be interesting to see. Anytime you have those changes, it takes a while to adjust. The Beacons are running out of outs to adjust to.
Sorry, just kind of lost my place on the roster here. Scully is a sophomore from Auburn, Massachusetts, stands 5'8", Weighs in at 215, making his 6th appearance of the year. They've all been in relief. He's 2-0. Seth, like you mentioned before the break, a 1.86 ERA in 9 2/3 innings, allowed just 6 hits, 2 earned runs, strikeouts and walks, 4 apiece. I will say this, watching him in warm-ups, maybe he was holding something in the tank. Didn't throw as hard as Zabrowski did, so maybe the Beacons can time some of these up a little better as the first pitch to Pinales is inside for a ball. Wanderson Pinales is 0-for-2. Oh, pardon me, it's a pinch hitter. So Joey Rogers will replace Pinales here. Rogers hitting .226 on the season, the 27th appearance of the year.
Really interesting that we see the catcher, Valeriano, step out after one pitch. Maybe just going over the signs that they're working with today. But, yeah, they were talking about it. We get the same walkie-talkie signal as the Beacons coaching staff, and they said they were bringing in Rogers before the next inning. I think they were going to give Pinales another at-bat, but now lefty versus righty, they're going to move to Rogers a half inning early, trying to get a base runner, as Rogers is a guy who puts the ball in play a little bit more frequently than Pinales.
That pitch is inside. Hitting just .226, but an on-base percentage of .333. Chops this one right back to the mound. It's going to stay fair, and it's bungled behind the plate. The throw takes Nussbaum off the bag. Valeriano tried to pick it up on a hop and hit off his knee. They're going to call it an E2, so Rogers, like you said, he puts the ball in play, and he gets on. He hit it maybe 6 inches, but he'll take it.
And Rogers is going to be immediately replaced by Sal Fruscino, the other Beacon center field option. I mean, UMass Boston is loaded when it comes to speedy outfielders. Fruscino, one of the Beacon's leading base stealers throughout his career, a guy who's closing in on the all-time games played mark, although it hasn't necessarily been starting here as a senior. He's had to play a little bit more of a bench role. But that's what happens when you put the ball in play. When you're striking out, you're not going to see base runners. It's very difficult to get runs to come in. Now you have a speedy base runner at first base, and a single here, you get 2 base runners on, you can create and generate a big inning.
And the Beacons have struck out 8 times so far today, 5 of those coming at the hands of Jeff Zabrowski. First pitch is a strike to Jack Harrington. Harrington's over 2. That's the first time anybody in the bottom 4 has reached for UMass Boston. Previously, they were 0-for-9.
And this is not an easy guy to get hits off of. Outside of the pristine ERA at 1.86, the number that stuck out to me, a team best 176 opposing batting average, which is really, really good.
It's outside for a ball, but of course, if his defense isn't going to help him out like we saw, the Beacons could take advantage. Rogers has not attempted a stolen base yet this year. 1-1 the count to Harrington. That one's outside. Looked like it may have hooked back in, and Scully swings the arm a little bit. Not agreeing with the call. He's been a bit erratic here. He almost hit Rogers on his first pitch.
And remember, this is Fruscino over at first. So he's
pardon me. Yep.
He's a more established base runner. 3 for 4 on the season. I think he's got close to 30 stolen bases, maybe more in his career.
He's got a good-sized lead over there at first. They're holding him on. That one's in there for a strike, which, again, umpires have a better view down there than we do up here, but there was a pitch that was closer to the plate, I think, earlier in this at-bat that was called a ball.
Well, and you're going to see Western New England, as they've done all day to lefties, throw another pitch out there, trying to get Harrington to chase and protect.
Catcher sets up outside. No doubt about that one, as it's in the turf.
I mean, we've seen it with Boudreaux swinging a pitch off the zone, trying to protect. We've seen it with Harrington and Fowler. He's giving the outside corner a little bit extra on the outside corner against lefties all day.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. That's outside. Runner going. It's not going to matter. It's ball 4. So Fruscino up to second. Harrington on with the walk. So an error and a walk. And with 1 out, the Beacons are in business. See what Charlie Hughey can do.
Could be a bunt situation. Could be Hughey trying to bunt for a hit, though. Try to drop down a bunt down the third base line.
We've already seen Valeriano bungle a ball this inning, so maybe you test the catcher again. You see if he's got a short memory.
Well, the third baseman's in at the bag right now, maybe sensing the possibility of a bunt.
First baseman in a little further. First pitch is in there for a strike. I wonder if with the corners in, maybe you try to run it. They're going to have to turn back to the bag to get to a throw down, so maybe you try to take advantage of that. You actually have Nussbaum standing right in front of Jack Harrington, literally blocking his view of the plate. That gets the lower outside corner for a strike count, goes to 0-2 on Hughie. Now he's got to swing the bat.
That's such a frustrating call for Hughie. It looked off the plate, and Hughie went down looking the last time. He's extended the zone, and it's been somewhat consistent, but you're really making it difficult on hitters if the zone extends by a couple inches on both sides.
The 0-2 is well outside for a ball.
And a big part of that is the only guy who's really missed consistently today is Arruda, and Western New England capitalized with 7 runs. We haven't seen either team's relievers or starters struggle much outside of that. The Beacons try to get at least 1 run here. This is a situation where you should get a run.
That's blooped over the head of the second baseman into right field. They're going to windmill at third. Coming around is Fershino. He will score. Up to third goes Harrington. The Beacons have cut it to a 3-run ball game.
Great hitting by Hughie, protecting the plate, able to flare it over the head of the second baseman. Fershino read it perfectly, going the whole way. They had no chance, and Harrington a nice job as the trail runner to advance as well. As we're going to see a potential another pitching change already. I wonder if Western New England has another lefty out of that bullpen to face off against the lefties that are about to step up for UMass Boston at the top of the order.
Looks like the door's opening up. We'll be back with the new pitcher after this.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
The new pitcher for Western New England is Jeff Krasovich, who pitched in the first game against the Beacons. In the third inning, he allowed 2 hits and an earned run back in the 8th inning of that game, in which the Beacons trailed going into the 8th 3-2. Todd in the 8th scored 3 in the 9th to win 6-3. Krasovich is their most used guy, making his team-leading 15th appearance. No one else came in today with more than 11. That was Zabrowski, who's already pitched. Krasovich 0-0 with a 2.84 ERA, just 6 1/3 innings. Here's your lefty specialist if you're ever going to find it at the college level.
Right, used a lot, but I mean, as few innings as anybody on this
23
list.
at-bats in 14 appearances. That is crazy that it's that few. 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 4 strikeouts, and 4 walks, 2 doubles allowed. And he's going to see McCormick, Boudris, and then we'll see if they leave him in for Murphy, because Fowler's due up next if it gets that far. This is a top-heavy left-handers at the top of the Beacons lineup today with no Eddie Riley available. Typically, the leadoff hitter for the Beacons is a right-handed hitter.
Scully technically didn't throw an inning. He's still responsible for the runners on the corners. Well, now runners on second and third is on that. I believe that is a stolen base. Okay, stolen base. Hughie was off with the pitch. So second and third, both those runners, Scully's responsibility, 1 out. And here is a big chance here for Ryan McCormick, who's reached 3 times, a single, an error, and a walk. That's outside. Now here's your submarine guy, Seth.
Yeah, we've literally hit every part of the spectrum today from Western New England in terms of lefties and righties, all kinds of arm angles. see how McCormick can handle him. McCormick is a bit of an enigma as a leadoff hitter. Most leadoff hitters you're talking about, singles hitters, he's a guy who has doubles power and a guy who's been one of the better Beacons in terms of driving runs in. A chance with a single to make this a real big game at 7-6.
You talk about seeing every kind of pitcher. This is the 5th pitcher the Golden Bears have used, the 8th combined. And McCormick thought about that. He pokes that in the left. It's probably a one-run ball game, but a bit out of his reach. It's ball 3. Count goes to 3-1, 1 out. The runner on second is Hughie. The runner on third is Harrington. The lefty comes set, delivers. That's a strike. You see McCormick's reaction.
It's not a surprise to see Western New England throw this many pitchers. They played 2 games on Saturday against Gordon, 2 more on Sunday against Nichols, all conference games, then played Babson. Got lit up in that one for 13 runs. So they've had to use a lot of pitchers as of late, and then they have their conference tournament starting on the 4th of May. Today's the 2nd. I have no idea what day of the week it is. Wednesday, so that'll start Friday. So those games obviously mean more than this one because you want to get the AQ in your conference, especially as the 3rd of 6 regional teams.
That one's hit into right field, heading back, looking up at it is Schofield, turns around, makes the catch at the wall. 1 run's going to score, tagging up even with the wind. Oh, we came close to a 1-run ball game.
McCormick had his head on his helmet there over at first base. He was convinced that was out, and with the wind, there was certainly a chance. Still looking for that first collegiate home run as a sophomore. I think the wind actually was turning there a little bit. We saw Schofield keep going back, but it wasn't blowing straight out, and that might have kept it in. I would have tied the game if it had somehow gotten over the warning track and into the Western New England bullpen.
So 2 outs, runner on third for Boudris. Harrington tagged and scored. Hughie moved up to third. That one's outside for a ball.
The nice thing, though, for UMass Boston is this was another situation where can you get some runs on the board or are you going to let Western New England escape? They've gotten 2 back in this inning. Now you're within 2 runs with 3 innings to play, and you feel a lot better about your chances as they've held Western New England's offense down the last couple of frames.
Boudris fouls that off his foot, got out ahead of the breaking ball. Count goes to 1-1. And they have held Western New England scoreless for 3 frames after they put up all 7 in the first 3. 7 runs on 7 hits for the Golden Bears. They've committed 2 errors. 5 runs on 5 hits for UMass, although only one of those was driven in on an actual hit. They got pass balls, double plays, sac flies, etc.
Well, and Western New England against the Beacons' 2 relievers, Monroe and Doherty, who've both gone an inning and 2/3 each. They've allowed 1 hit, 1 single hit. That's really good for the Beacons, who saw Western New England hit the ball over the park in the first inning and a third.
Outside ball 3, count goes to 3-1. So Krasovich gets the first out, but allows a run. That will be charged to Connor Scully. Here's the 3-1. Gets the lower outside corner strike. I mean, that's consistently been called a strike here this inning.
Oh, for sure. One thing for Western New England now, they've been charged with 2 errors, and they've led to 3 runs scoring at least. And the runner at third would also be an unearned run based off of those errors thus far. So they've hurt themselves with their defense.
Of the 5 runs, just 1 earned as Boudris draws the walk. And this is the guy you wanted to play it here, Dave Murphy.
I don't know if he's going to see Krasovich. Krasovich has already faced, 2 batters? And
yes,
that's pretty much his limit. I know you have Fowler due up next, but I don't know if you want to give Krasovich a chance here against one of the top right-handed hitters in New England. This is a really interesting decision for Dan Gomez. Do you go with your guy who's a specialist, or do you go to a right-handed pitcher and play the percentages and then hope that you get Murphy and you don't have to face Fowler?
And then do you go back to a lefty? Next thing, door's not open yet.
Well, the other question is how many lefties do you have? The Beacons only have so many. We've already seen 2. Ryan Searles is a left-handed pitcher. Sean Halligan is a left-handed pitcher. We've seen Zabrowski. Bob Hamels, they've got 4 or 5 lefties here. We're seeing Krasovich, so they have at least 3 more lefties. Now, those guys could be guys that are not available due today due to injuries. Maybe they threw a lot of innings this weekend, but they could keep playing the percentages. But you also might want to keep one of those guys for the 8th or 9th,
Right.
as this top of the order is going to come up at least one more time in this game.
They're going to stick with Krasovich here against Murphy. He is 1 for 2. He's reached twice on a single and a walk.
And I think Murphy's going to be sitting on a pitch, especially early in this at-bat.
That was the one. You can tell the way he loaded up for it, but he fouled it off. Maybe got a little overexcited.
Yeah, Dave's in one of those slumps right now. I mean, he's getting the occasional hit. I think he's got a hit today.
He does.
But he's in a power slump. And right now, it might just take one double or one ball that somehow lands that maybe shouldn't land for him to get that confidence back. We saw it his first year with the Beacons as a junior, went into a big slump and then got a double, then hit a couple home runs.
That one misses for ball count even at 1.
And it happened at the same point in the season. That happened literally, it was senior day, and he got a bloop double and then followed it with a home run and then crushed the ball throughout the LEC tournament. The Beacons need that version of Dave Murphy here heading into their final 2 regular season games.
7th batter of the inning for the Beacons. 2 outs, 1-1 count. That gets the outside part, strike 2.
I don't think Murphy liked that. He said something to the umpire because it never got that high. Not only was it maybe a little outside, but it looked like it never even got high enough to catch his knees.
Strike zone's gotten big this inning. Here's the 1-2 to Murphy. No doubt about that one, ball 2. He calls that one a strike, then we might have an issue.
Well, the surprising part for Edward McEvan is this is the first time all year where as an umpire, he's probably not freezing his butt behind the plate. Like, you don't need to move this game along the way that we've seen where it's 25 degrees out and everyone wants to go home.
Hit high into left field, heading back towards the walls. LaCroix, can he see it? Yes, he's going to watch it over the wall. And the Beacons have taken the lead.
Right on cue. The wind is blowing out. Murphy just hit it into the jet stream, and that was a towering fly ball. Would it be out on a day where the wind's not blowing out, it's not 85? I don't know, and it doesn't matter. UMass Boston has come back from what at one point was a 7-1 deficit. And Murphy, the big bopper, we said, would they make the change based off the righty? Well, they stuck with their guy, and the Beacons guy comes through. And this is huge right now because the momentum was all on Western New England's side throughout this contest, and all of a sudden the Beacons put up a 5 spot here in the 6th, and now Western New England's got to dig themselves out.
And you think Krasovich a little frazzled? First pitch he hits Fowler.
I'm really surprised that they haven't immediately come out. This is a guy who saw 23 batters in his first 14 appearances. And now this will be his 5th batter. They're not going to give him a 5th batter. But still, he went 4 batters, and honestly, I think we both can. We said it for UMass Boston when Aruda was in. He was left in for 1 too many batters. Krasovich was left in for 1 too many batters. And both times, the opposing head coach had to deal with a home run ending a guy's outing.
And that will do it for Krasovich. We will be back with the new pitcher after this.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Another look at that home run, and initially it looked like he hit the ball too high to hit it out, but the wind really whipping tonight carried that ball out over the monster. The Beacons with an 8-7 lead. There is a new pitcher in the game for Western New England. We're not sure who it is. He's wearing number 7. which is not listed on the roster. So it is actually 14, so he halved his number. That's Patrick Westerland.
Your attention, please, now pitching for Western New England University. Tonight wearing number 7.
And Westerland comes in release of Krasovich, who in a third of an inning allowed 2 runs. They weren't earned, walked 1. He's responsible for the runner at first. There's apparently a rabbit on the field somewhere. I can't see it. Where is it?
Some fields.
Oh, there he is. There he goes.
Some fields have cats. Some fields have squirrels. Some fields have birds. We have rabbits. The Beacon's third base coach, a bit of a hunter, is just going to watch him. Now he's going to go after it. See if we can get a zoom in on that. I'm going to go try to go up top.
He's stepping towards it. He's chased it into fair territory. Now it heads back foul towards the corner. There's nowhere it can get out back there, right? And then again, how did it get in? So hopefully it goes out, however it gets in. We'll keep an eye on left field. The new pitcher, before we got distracted there, is Patrick Westerland, making his 8th appearance, a 1.59 ERA in 5 2/3 innings. Opponents hitting .208 against him.
And another submariner.
Yeah. It really looks like, when we didn't know the number, I wonder if they had Krasovich switch jerseys and sides, because it's the same motion. Herzog, the 9th batter of the inning for the Beacons. They have batted around. He is 1-for-3 as they throw over to first to check on Fowler.
Well, it's funny. I mean, Dan Gomez legitimately has so many options in his bullpen of providing different arm angles that he could provide you a different look in every inning, although he couldn't get any lower than Krasovich, so they just stayed as low.
This one escapes Valeriano. The throw down to second is not in time.
That's a good job by Fowler, advancing on the wild pitch, recognizing it bounced away from Valeriano. And now the last thing you want right now if you're Western New England is to let the home run still affect you. You give up the hit by pitch, now a wild pitch. Single here, all of a sudden it's a 2-run lead, and you're in a really tight spot with the Beacons having some of their best arms left in the bullpen.
Keeping it going with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Outside for a ball. Count goes to 2-1, on Herzog.
Dan Gomez has a lot of trust in Aaron Rios over there at second base, because he's so close to the bag when the pitch comes that there's such a big hole down the second base side every time. I mean, it's incredible the Beacons haven't done a better job of poking a ball through there. Yes, Rios bounces away from the bag quickly, but not enough to get rid of that huge hole down on the first base side.
Here's the 2-2. Popped up. Should stay in play. Nussbaum back into fair territory to make the catch and retire the side. But the Beacons send 9 to the dish. They score 4 on 2 hits. 1 error. They do leave 1 on base.
And there's our rabbit friend.
There's our rabbit. We'll keep an eye on him during the break as we head to the 7th for the first time with the Beacons leading. It is UMass Boston 8, Western New England 7 on BeaconAthletics.com.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
You can see in the background there the rally rabbit hanging out in center field. He's right under the Lambert sign. You can sort of see him under the padding. Beacons have a new pitcher. It's Anthony Piscara. Piscara making his 7th appearance. He's gone an inning a game. He's yet to allow an earned run this year. Opponents hitting .222 against him. And he will replace Mike Doherty, who went an inning and 2/3 without allowing a hit, struck out 2.
Piscara is a guy who doesn't see all that much action, but UMass Boston wanting to get a lot of guys in. The tough part about the Beacon schedule, which no one else can feel a similar complaint, is the Beacons got in so many games earlier on the season that last week they only had one midweek game due to a cancellation from St. Joseph's College of Maine. This week they had Salve Regina cancel on them because of scheduling. The Beacons don't actually have enough games to get all of their pitching some reps before the conference tournament. So you want guys to stay fresh. You don't want to have a guy be off for 2 or 3 weeks and then have to pitch in a pressure situation. But right now, you see a guy like Piscara, who hasn't pitched all that much but has sparkling numbers, get a chance in this game. Beacons do have at least one righty up, if not 2, just in case Piscara runs into some problems. But this is a good chance for Piscara to provide a different look. It's the first lefty the Beacons have put out today.
Well, he's going to have to face a tough test. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters for Western New England, Leclerc, Casella, and LaCroix. And the first pitch skips in at the feet of Leclerc for ball 1. Leclerc's driven in a couple. He has a hit. He scored. He struck out in his last at-bat in the 4th. Here's the 1-0. Popped him up. Shortstop coming over. That's Hughie. Now steps back a couple and makes the catch for the out. 1 down.
Can't ask for much more there from Piscara. It's interesting to see. I mean, when you have a guy who hasn't pitched that much, Piscara was not one of the 6 guys to pitch against Western New England the first time. It makes it difficult, but also this is a point in the lineup where they have back-to-back lefties coming up in the 2nd and 3rd spot to start this inning. So you're going to give him probably these first 3 batters, and then he's likely going to be done one way or another. So UMass Boston tries to get the mighty, I think it's Nussbaum that's caused them all the problems, or is it Rosenblatt?
Nussbaum.
So you want to get Rosenblatt, but then you also want to get Nussbaum. Nussbaum's only hit against righties and done a ton of damage.
They are due up 4th and 5th this inning. Coming in left is Cesare. Going out is Hughie, and Hughie will make the catch. A decent way out in left field for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, the fact that I'm not doing a scorecard today means I have no idea what's going on.
That's fine. You can cheat off my paper. That's all right.
Problem is I'm cheating unsuccessfully. I'm 1 off. It's as if we're taking a test next to each other. You're putting C, and my questions for C.
No,
is the next
my
one.
handwriting's a mess. That's fair. It is irreadable scribbles. Ben LaCroix is the batter. He is 0 for 3. Rough day. Hasn't put the ball out of the infield yet. He's grounded out to second. He's grounded out to third, and he popped out to third base as well. He takes ball 1. Hasn't gone late in counts either. Went 1 and 2 in his first at-bat, 1 and 1 in his second at-bat, and grounded out on the first pitch he saw back in the 5th. Here's the 1-0. It's away ball 2. The Rally Rabbit still out there? I saw it on the move.
I believe it's still behind Cesare out
I see
left.
it there. Yeah, it's under
like
the scoreboard. It had moved to center, and now it's back.
It's like trying to find our camera on center field.
Right.
Once you know where it is, you have a better idea, but it's hard to find it the first time.
Here's the 2-0. That's in there for a strike.
You can tell
that thing showed up, and then boom, 5 runs.
You can tell this has been a long night.
Yeah.
We've strayed a couple times, but we're trying to focus on baseball.
That's what you do, though. We're just over 2.5 hours in, just past the top of the 10 o'clock hour here in Boston. Hey, don't just sit in traffic driving home. So this is popped foul and out of play. Count goes to 2-2.
Well, the other thing is this is the first game all season long that we've played a night game here at Monin. So we've seen the lights cause some problems. And, of course, it's one of the longer games that we'll have this season because why not? If it's a 7:30 start, why not go 3+ hours?
It was originally 7, right, when it was Salve, and then it was 7:15, and then the traffic was bad, so it was 7:30.
Well, the funny thing is the game before us, BC High and Catholic Memorial
Yeah.
was another high-scoring back-and-forth game. I think that one ended up with a 10-run win for BC High, but at one point it was 7-5 in like the third inning.
Here's the payoff pitch. And it gets up and by Harrington to the backstop. LaCroix's put on with the free pass, and this is the situation you were talking about, Seth, that you didn't want. Now Piscara's got to face Rosenblatt and Nussbaum, the two best hitters in this Golden Bear lineup. Rosenblatt, though, has not been as potent today as you'd expect. He is 0 for 1. Grounded out, was hit by a pitch scored, and then walked. He comes in hitting .311. Almost got hit a second time. Scoots out of the way, ball one.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see how much of a leash Piscara gets. Now, again, the big lefty is due up next, but do you give Piscara a chance rather than go to one of your top righties who are both warming up? I think it's McGuire and Gottesman, maybe even Tramandosi here. No, that's a little early for Tramandosi.
Tramandosi, you'd wait another inning, I think.
All right, well, we've got confirmation, not from the camera, but from the walkie-talkie that Alex Carasota, one of the Beacon's senior righties, is likely the next arm. It's not the first time we've been told that this year, though, and he didn't come in. So I'm not guaranteeing that from Brendan Eichenbrod. He's fooled me once.
Throw over to first and diving in safely is LaCroix. Maybe he just likes screwing with you. Does he know that you guys are listening?
No, he doesn't, but he still enjoys screwing with me. I can tell you that from our daily conversations.
There's the 1-1. Chopper to third, mid-hop. Boudris grabs it across the diamond, and the side is retired. That was not an easy hop for Boudris to handle, but he gets it. And Prescott works around the walk. No hits, no runs, no errors. One man left on base. It is stretch time at Monon. Beacons 8 and Western New England 7. We'll leave you with the Rabbit.
Cheer for the stumbles, the he shoulda had that's, and the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Rally Rabbit hanging out through the 7th inning stretch. So we take a look. I wonder if he'll be around for these games, Seth.
I'm sure he's got a home nearby. Real estate's probably a little bit cheaper than my apartment just a few blocks away.
He has to be nearby. He couldn't. There would have been no way for him to get onto the field unless he was on before the game, right? Because it's completely fenced in.
There are some holes and cracks that he could get through that you or I couldn't. There is grass nearby, which probably makes it more likely that he's coming from just behind Monon Park here. It's funny, we're talking about the Rabbit, but I read an article last week on Barstool, which is one of the more informative articles that I've ever read on Barstool Sports, which more it's for the laughs. But there's been a lot of geese.
For the people.
There's been a lot of geese landing on the blue turf at Boise State for years now, and they continue to have this problem despite doing stuff. So there have been some conversations here at UMass Boston about geese, about putting down blue turf if we do turf some of our other facilities outside of Monon Park, which is a 50 split between BC High and UMass Boston.
This is grounded to second, and they retire Cesare.
I don't think BC High is going to appreciate blue turf. But the funny thing is, the Rabbit might think that this is grass, and obviously can't. Well, the geese out at Boise State think that it's water, so they're landing on it thinking that they can get some food, thinking that they can settle down, and then they're landing on blue turf rather than blue water. So Just a fun animal anecdote.
Well, I was saying between the innings, I was wondering if the rabbit was getting confused trying to eat the turf. It's actually, they had a bigger problem at Boise when it first opened. They had to put a coating on the turf. The birds thought it was water, and they wouldn't just land on it. They had birds dive by, and obviously that doesn't end well for the birds. We don't need to get too graphic, but they would have to have somebody go out every morning with a shovel and clear off the field.
I think it's the same thing. Well, they're not diving onto the turf, but the Minnesota Vikings Stadium, because it's that glass facade,
yeah,
a lot of birds go straight into it.
So I will tell you this. UMass Lowell has Wicked Blue Field up there as part of the Cushing Field complex. As far as I know, they don't have any issues with that, but it is a very strange. It is a very, very, very deep blue.
Is it the fact that maybe the geese are smarter here on the East Coast?
Well, I wonder if there's a river right next to it, and they can see the difference, as that is a ball to Frashino.
So you're saying the water right behind us might help?
Might help. Because Boise obviously is landlocked. The interesting thing about the turf in Lowell is I was out there one time before a game, as this is fouled right back to us, and the turf has sprinklers on it. They were watering the turf, and I thought, oh, what a dumb waste of water. What happens is, because it's such a deep blue, it's so dark it absorbs heat, they have to water it before a game, or it gets to like 120 degrees. The black pellets in the turf will melt, and it becomes unplayable. This is driven into right center field. Heading over is LeCaire. He gets there in time for the second out of the inning. So, yeah, so they have to water the turf, and it looks a little weird. But I was standing out there before they watered, and I noticed it was maybe an 85-degree day, 90-degree day. It was a warm day, but it felt like you were in an oven.
You are a treasure trove of fun anecdotes.
Oh, it's all so useless.
I just want to give credit to LeCaire out there in center field.
Yeah, that was a nice catch.
Just like Pinellas, this Western New England outfield has done a really nice job tracking down some balls. They clearly have good outfield defense. They have had a couple of infield errors that have led to some Beacons runs. Actually, I think it should be 4 or 5 runs from Western New England that's given up have been unearned. Big reason why the Beacons have the lead right now. And actually, officially, it's 8 runs, 1 earned. Because all those runs the Beacons scored in the last half inning were with 2 outs. I mean, the runs still count either way, but when you're looking at it from Western New England, you're really going to be frustrated not being able to make some of those plays early in innings.
Meanwhile, all 7 of Western New England's runs were earned, all charged to Tyler Aruda.
But the bullpen's come through. Been
Yes.
really impressed by UMass Boston's bullpen today.
4 1/3 scoreless between Monroe, Doherty, and Piscara most recently. Cracked up behind short. Leparo fading back. He can't find it, and he dropped it.
That was wind-aided. That ball was swirling up in the wind as I think the shortstop might have caught that ball on the way back up off the turf.
I think it hit him off the hop.
Ed Perkins, the Beacons trainer, is already out at the first baseline as he's just going to check on it. I mean, he was really fighting it hard there. My first instinct is to say hit because I don't think he quite got to the ball. But it's interesting on that play. We've talked about it for both teams playing their left fielders deep. I think that's LaCroix's ball. I think if LaCroix charges that ball, he's going to get there. And Harrington picks up a hit for UMass Boston. Is that their first hit amongst the 6 through 9 hitters? I know Rogers reached last inning on an error.
You had Hughie drive in a run with a single at the end of the 6th. That was their first hit. But after not reaching in their first 9 plate appearances, they have now reached in 4 of the last 7. Including 2 for Harrington, a walk and a single. And we'll bring up Charlie Hughie as they check back to Harrington at first.
Well, we'll talk about the rest of Beaconville between innings, but I'd like to give a shout-out to the Beacon softball team. A couple of players are watching, commenting on the center field cam. They've got a big game tomorrow, so hopefully they'll turn in soon.
Now, what do they think of the Rally Rabbit?
I don't know. I think they're jealous. They've got true grass, and I haven't seen a rabbit on their field once. I have seen a skunk close by to their field, but that was well after games had ended.
You don't want a rally skunk. That doesn't do you any good.
No. That's something you run from, not towards.
Right. Rally rabbit. We've seen rally cats. Rally bird gets on the field.
Squirrels.
Rally squirrel. Rally squirrel's the big one. Throw down a second. is in time, and that's how the inning will end. They get Harrington stealing for the third out. We have played 7 full in Boston. Beacons holding on to a late 1-run lead, 8-7 on beaconathletics.com.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Take a look around Beaconville. The lacrosse team season unfortunately came to an end yesterday, but softball, defending Little East Conference tournament champs, looking to reach their 3rd consecutive LEC championship game. First, they start tomorrow against Plymouth State, have a couple of wins to get back to the LEC championship series. Men's tennis opens their conference tournament tomorrow. They got to buy into the LEC semis. They're the #1 seed in track and field at D3 New England Championships. They were competing in the LECs this weekend, a lot of #1 finishes, so a chance to maybe put another couple of athletes towards the top 25 as the Beacons women's team keeps their rise up the top of the rankings. They're now #3 in the country on the women's side after winning the national championship in indoor track.
First pitch to Nussbaum, misses for a ball. East killed him in a 3-run home run and a double. He also struck out back in the 5th.
This is probably Pescara's last batter one way or another as Carasoto is ready in the bullpen.
That one misses for a ball. Count goes to 2-0.
And remember, I said Brendan Eigerbrelt on the walkie, they said Carasoto starting this inning. Well, he's not starting. So, again, Brendan Eigerbrelt.
He got you
I'm
again.
not calling him a liar, but I am calling him a jokester.
Not calling him a truther. Anybody gets that reference.
I don't, but to be fair.
Somebody got it. Thank you.
In this day and age, being called a truther is probably not the best thing.
No, back when Drake and Josh were on TV, it was a good thing.
Wow.
That was a good show. I'm glad somebody finally got one of my insane references.
Drake is currently on The Challenge, a very bad show that I like watching, and I did not expect to hear another reference to that Drake anytime in 2018, as Pescara looks like his day is done after the walk.
You're talking about Drake Bell is on The Challenge,
yes.
not Drake. The one who tried to fight Kendrick Perkins.
Were you talking about Drake?
No, I was talking about Drake Bell, but when you say Drake nowadays.
Well, I thought that we established when we were talking about Drake and Josh, because the only show
I just wanted to make sure.
Because if you're talking about young Drake, you're talking...
Drake has become a monument. No, then you're talking about Degrassi.
Well, yeah, that's the only show you can possibly be talking about. So we're clearly older than our target audience of student-athletes who are currently watching.
Well, a student-athlete got Drake and Josh. I think it was some good middle ground.
Apparently a large population finds Drake Bell attractive, which is very confusing. I think they're all young females, but...
I don't even know what he looks like anymore. I had probably even seen a picture of him in 4 or 5 years. I know Josh Peck lost some weight. He trimmed down.
Conversation continues to go in strange ways as we see Alex Carasoto, the senior out of Pittsfield, Mass. 1-0, 2.70 ERA. And Carasoto is the guy who throws a lot of ground balls, provides a very different look. He's going to rely on the off-speed stuff. And Alex has pitched well this year. 10th appearance. I think he only pitched in 4 or 5 games last year. 10 innings of work, 11 hits, 6 runs, 3 earned, 13 strikeouts versus 4 walks. Held opponents to a 268 batting average. So Pescara got the job done. Yep. And honestly, yes, he walked Nussbaum. But compared to what Nussbaum did against Aruda and some of the other Beacons pitchers, I don't mind a 4-pitch walk. Right. I really don't. Yes, the tying run is aboard, but you give Carasoto a chance. And I think we already have another righty warming up. So if Carasoto runs into a bit of a jam, it's Ben Gottesman is warming up. So this is truly going to be a big bullpen day for both teams.
Yeah, this is pitcher number 5
for UMass Boston. And Western New England's gone through, 6 or 7?
They have used, hang on, I can count for in a second. They have used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Carasoto, the 11th pitcher we've seen today, and we are clearly not done. That is why we are 3 hours in, and we are still here.
My favorite fact of the day is, guess who the pitcher who went the deepest in today's game?
That would be...
No, don't look at your book. I'm saying guess. I use the word guess for a reason.
Who went, which starter went deepest?
No, what pitcher threw the most innings?
Was it Aruda?
It was Aruda. The least effective pitcher today went the most innings.
Nobody went 3? I thought somebody
went 3. 2 2/3 innings for Tyler Aruda, and no pitcher for Western New England went further than 2 1/3. That was Zabrowski, who struck out 5 amongst the batters that he faced.
That's non-conference college baseball for you.
Well, it's just putting an emphasis on the games that matter. Don't blame either team. I think
First pitch to Rios in for a strike.
UMass Boston might not use Bobby Tramandozzi tonight in a safe situation because he did pitch 2 innings the other day at Endicott, and you need him to possibly pitch 2 or 3 innings against Rhode Island College. We haven't seen Joe McGuire yet, their second guy typically out of the pen, or Brian Kaufman. So UMass Boston's conserving a bit. Western New England, they've used some of their top guys, but they don't use them all that often.
1-1. The count to Aaron Rios. Rios is 1 for 3. He had an RBI single and scored back in the second.
Wonder if you can get a possible double play ball on Rios, who has 7 steals, but this is Carasoto's big advantage. He keeps everything low. He induces a lot of ground balls, and this is a reason that he's coming into the game right now with confidence. He knows that he can turn that 4-6-3, 6-4-3, even 5-4-3 double play to get out of this jam.
You saw him shake the first 2 signs off, like the third. It's a breaking ball, which a swing and a miss from Rios would be strike 2.
Well, Carasoto all of a sudden has gotten more swing and misses as a senior than he ever did his first 3 seasons. One point, his strikeout to walk ratio was, or strikeout per 9 was at about 15. It's down to 11.70, which is a full 4 strikeouts more than he's ever had it.
Checks over to first, diving back in time is Nussbaum. 7 runs on 7 hits for Western New England. 8 runs on 7 hits for the Beacons. 5 of those runs coming in the bottom of the 6th. They've come back from down 7-1. The 0-2. Struck him out swinging away. Alex Carasoto comes in and picks up an early strikeout, 1 down.
It's so frustrating for Rios because not only did he chase a pitch, he chased a pitch that might have been up there in the high 60s. The most frustrating part about facing Carasoto is you feel like you're hitting against a high school pitcher in terms of velocity, but Carasoto uses that against hitters. Hitters come up and they think, oh, I'm seeing a beach ball out there. I can hit this, but he does just enough to keep you off balance, and that's why he's been really effective throughout his career. He comes in with a record of 6-1 with 2 saves in 37 career appearances.
It's like people say, why is an eephus pitch so effective? You're essentially lobbing the ball 60 miles an hour over the plate. A 60-mile-an-hour pitch is, in theory, just as effective as a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. The reason 100 is tough, right, is because you're not used to hitting that speed. Same could be said for 60. You have to make an adjustment. Throw, runner going down to second. That's going to sail into center field. Backing up is Fershino, so staying at second is Nussbaum.
Well, yes, I agree with most of your logic here.
100 is tougher than 60.
Well, 100 is not only tougher, as you see Gottesman up for the Beacons and another one of those 5 lefties up for Western New England, but 60 miles per hour in baseball is not as good because 60 miles is a lot easier to steal on.
Right.
And that's what happened there. It's going to be really difficult to limit the run game right now. And Carasoto's not normally throwing 60. He just doesn't throw in the high 80s.
60 was an example for an eephus. I'm not saying that's what he's throwing. But, yeah, again, a guy who's throwing slower, Western New England's going to pick that up. They're going to try to run on it. And Alex Carasoto doing right now what a good pitcher does with the runner on late in the game. He's holding the ball on him. He's not letting him get his timing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him step off again. Looks back to second. Checks back again. Here's the 1-0. And misses for ball 2.
And the tough part for Alex here is he inherited this runner. So he's a guy who knows he has to get the first out of the inning, has to get that leadoff hitter because guys are going to run on him, especially a team like Western New England who came in with 100 stolen bases in just under 40 games.
That one's in there for a strike. They pump down to second as Rios retreats. Valeriano is 1 for 2. He had an RBI single back in the second inning. He was one of only 2 Golden Bears not to bat in the third. The other was Schofield, the leadoff hitter. That was the inning that they put 4 across. That was outside for a ball. He has despite being the 9-hitter, he has led off 2 innings, the 4th and the 6th.
Well, they've had quite a few big innings early on in this game, which means you're not typically seeing the leadoff hitter in the first, 4th, and 7th. We've seen the leadoff hitter in, 4 times already this game?
1, 2, 4, and 6, and he only led off. He only led off the first inning.
And he's likely to hit for a 5th time here in the 8th unless something funky happens right now.
I'll go out to the mound as Harrington wants to have a word here on the full count. Schofield due up. He is 0 for 3 with a walk. So they've had his number tonight.
Well, he is one of the weaker hitters. I mean, you go through and you look 2 through 6, they're all hitting well over 300. Schofield came in at 269, but with good speed and a guy who can move around. I'd be interested here with Valeriano, who has struck out 20 times, if you potentially send the runner, recognizing that Harrington would have to throw through a right-handed hitter, maybe trying to score on a weekly hit single.
And on the other side, the guy who strikes out a lot, I wonder if you put the ball away, you take the walk, you get the force at third, and if you get him to chase, it's just gravy. Here's the payoff pitch. Comes right at his head. Ducks under it. Runner up to third. Nobody's covering the plate, and now Carasoto takes a couple steps in as it was a big turn from Nussbaum.
And that's a worst-case scenario there for Alex, as he'll have to face the leadoff hitter with 2 on. But again, a double play could get the Beacons out of this jam. They're just going to have to do it with a much speedier base runner.
Schofield, like I said, is 0 for 3. Was robbed of a hit in the second on a great catch by Nick Herzog out and right. And now Hughie's going to come in. So Hughie and Carasoto are going to talk it over. These are 2 guys we know pretty well, Seth. They help out with the broadcast in the fall and the winter seasons. I'm surprised Steve Witkowski doesn't come out there to join the conversation.
Witkowski, a longtime friend and teammate of Carasoto. So there's 2 things I think they're thinking here. First, try to settle down Carasoto. You see him smiling there. Second off, talk about the possibility of a bunt play. Now, leadoff hitter doesn't hit all that well. I'm immediately thinking this is a guy who can bunt.
Yep.
Doesn't have a sac bunt this season. Maybe they haven't called for it. They have only put down 12 sac bunts on the season. So that's not a big part of how they generate runs. But with the guy who struggled today, down by a run against a really good team, maybe you think about doing it, especially with the speedy runner over there at third base. Who knows? That's just how I would potentially think about generating a run right now.
Nussbaum at third, Valeriano at first. They're holding him on the bag, so they can't come in on that corner for the lefty hitter. First pitch is low and away for a ball. No sign of bunt from Schofield. Middle infielders, of course, a double play depth, so a lot of room in between the first and second baseman here for Schofield if he can put a ball on the ground. Carasoto comes set and steps off the mound. Now, that play's not legal in professional ball. You don't really see that much anymore, that fake to third, look to first. But it makes sense to go to it here.
Well, to be fair, it also shouldn't be used a ton in professional ball because guys shouldn't fall for it at the professional level. It happens rarely here at the college level. And I still think the move is overused, although with Western New England running as much as they do, it makes sense.
The 1-0 is in there for a strike with the fastball. Count goes to 1-1.
Yeah, you can tell, you mentioned it earlier, Carasoto holding the ball for a while and then slinging it in there. These Western New England batters don't have a good sense of how hard it's going to come in or when it's going to come in, as Carasoto's been holding the ball for a while. And another one of those fake to third, look to first. No movement thus far from Valeriano out there at first base.
We talked about the bottom of the order for the Beacons have struggled. The top four for Western New England are just 3 for 15, although 2 of those are extra base hits and one's an RBI single. But this part of the lineup hasn't done much as this is hit right back to Carasoto to short for 1. Hughie to first. Did he get the foot down? Yes! Double play! 1-6-3, exactly what the Beacons needed, and they hold on to the 1-run lead.
Wow, that was very close. The Beacons might have caught a break. We'll see if we can get that highlight for you before we go to replay. Fowler's foot definitely came off the bag, and did it get there quite in time? That's exactly how you want it. A really strong throw by Carasoto back, and not quite sure if we have it for you on the camera out in center field. We'll take a look, Alex. It's a bang-bang play, but that's the worst-case scenario for Western New England, who has not scored since the 3rd inning.
How about Carasoto calmly knowing what to do with this ball, and a great turn as well by Hughie. Let's see. Oh, I think he kept the toe on.
Ooh, very close. Chris Fowler showing off the defensive skills.
Chris Fowler is 6'1", and he needed all 6'1" of it to make that play. All right, we go to a break here. Middle of the 8th, Beacons leading 8-7.
Cheer for the stumbles, the he shoulda had that's, and the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Beacon's last chance to add on here in the bottom of the 8th before they try to close this thing out before we get to 11 o'clock. It will be 9-1 and 2. Hughie, McCormick, and Boudris for the Beacons to face Westerland, who came in relief in the last inning. Hughie, the front end of that inning-ending double play in the top half, and that was some play set.
Oh, it was phenomenal. You were right. He did keep his toe on. Give credit to Carasoto there, the former second baseman, back when he was a positional player as well. A really nice turn. Nicely done all around. It was the first double play that UMass Boston has turned today. And their defense, the Beacons are going to look and they're going to say, oh, yeah, our offense started. I mean, we got 7 hits. We got the 8 runs. Defense and relief pitching has gotten UMass Boston back into this game. That's the big reason why. And the offense finally woke up, at least for 1/2 inning.
Hughie chopped it to second. Nobody covering the bag. He's going to get on. Infield single. Nussbaum went for the ball. Couldn't get back in time. Back-to-back hits here for Charlie Hughie.
It's a hit, but it's a mental error by Nussbaum. He's got to get back to the bag. That was the second baseman's ball the entire way. And I was going to say before this half inning, this is a crucial inning for UMass Boston. You got to get an insurance run right now. They had a game the other night against Endicott where they went into the 9th up by just a single run, as I think we're going to see a little conversation between both teams' groups. And I think Western New England's going to go back to the pen one last time. But you want to give yourself a 2-run cushion, 3-run cushion, just so a freak happenstance. I mean, the other day against Endicott, it was a 2-out double followed by a wild pitch and then a grounder to second base that Dave Murphy made the play but didn't get it over across in time, and Endicott tied the game and nearly won it. They had a runner on third before Tramandosi was able to get out of the way. UMass Boston would love to give themselves some breathing room. This is a big win for either of these sides. For the Beacons, gives them another regionally ranked win, a win to go into Friday with some confidence. For Western New England, getting a win against a nationally ranked foe would give them some confidence going into the CCC. Getting a loss today for Western New England would really feel like you blew the game.
I mean, how could you say they didn't? They were up 7-1, and it's tough to not look at it that way.
I would say that you can lose a game 8-7 in a situation like this, and you didn't blow the game. The other team won it. But I would say because only one of the runs is earned, because they've left so many runners on. Remember, they were 4 of 12 at one point with runners in scoring position. That's gone down, and they started the game like I think it was 3 for 5, and then they went 1 for their next 7, and it's gotten worse from there. This is one of those situations where UMass Boston's going to feel good about some things, but Western New England, if they lose it, are going to feel as if they really let one slip through their fingers.
Sean Halligan's the new pitcher for the Golden Bears, making his 9th appearance all out of the bullpen. He's 2-0 with a 0.55 ERA, 16 1/3 innings this year. Opponents hitting .238 against him, so they're going to lock this down here.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see him a little bit earlier,
right?
With the exception of Bob Hamill, their closer, who's got phenomenal stats, 4-0, 4 starts, 4 complete games, 4 saves. Probably a guy they used this weekend is 0.94. He's got a 0.94 ERA in 38 1/3 innings. So
4 saves, 4 wins. I mean, that's impressive. He can really fill either role.
And 4 complete games. So clearly a weekend starter. Just getting off track. But this is a guy that they maybe were saving, hoping to get getting a save situation, and instead he has to come on and keep this score at 8-7.
I also have Cody Cousin they didn't use, who has an ERA around 1. He's pitched semi-regularly, but
seven appearances, but 8 1/3 innings. He looks like maybe a righty specialist. The rare righties. I mean, let's check. Do they have a second lefty
I think
specialist?
that's just a reliever.
Cody Cousin is a senior righty out of Storrs, Connecticut.
The home of UConn. Showing bunt is McCormick with Hughie on first. Pulls back, not in time. That's a strike. So this is pitcher number 12?
Yes. 7 for Western New England, 5 for
that was
UMass.
Weird. They owe me a Coke. They're over to first. Hughie back in time. It gets away. Skips to the fence. Hughie's going to get up to second.
He's going to third.
Oh, here he goes. Around second. The throw is not in time. Heads up baseball by Charlie Hughie. And that is big. With nobody out, you got to get this guy home now.
Well, it's not only an actual error, but it's also a bit of a hustle error there on the right side of the defense. Neither guy was going that hard because, like you, they assumed, that's one base. But, again, Fenway dimensions, you have a little bit more room as right now you can't see it on screen, but Bobby Tremendoza, the Beacons closer, is warming up. So Western New England's really shot themselves in the foot. Remember, an infield hit that should have been an out, except both guys on the right side went for it, and now a throwing error. UMass Boston's about to manufacture a run without doing much.
So foul territory is Fenway dimensions too?
Because
it looks like there's a little more room down the right field line.
Yeah, well, obviously, we don't have to deal with stands on the right field side.
Right.
Where left field is pretty similar because it is cut out in that awkward angle with very little foul territory down in the corner. But right field is for the most part. I mean, they tried to make this as Fenway as possible. The Monster's 10 feet shorter. That's why I call it the mini Monster.
Yep.
But for the most part,
well, I think there's some people in Portland that might have something to say about that.
Well, there's a lot of monsters out there. I was tuned on to a D3 baseball game today, and there was a tall fence in right, and a guy called it the Monster, and I immediately turned off the webcast. I don't know.
Well,
I think it was Dennison.
Okay, it's one thing if you're in Boston, and it's green. That is appropriate. Portland is an affiliate of the Red Sox. There's one in Greenville, too. I don't know if some random college not in Boston should be doing that.
No, especially, I mean, just because it's a tall fence doesn't mean it's a monster.
Right.
It's got to be green.
We had my high school, we had a tall fence in right field that had our colors were purple and gold. We had a purple advertisements on it. We called it the Maroon Monster.
I like that.
Or the Pond Street Partition. This is hit by the diving first baseman Nussbaum into right field. It's going to score the run. Heading to second is McCormick. He's in standing. An RBI double, and the Beacons get some insurance.
That ball was ripped. I don't think it gets past Nussbaum. If he's not in there, it came by him really quickly. I mean, he was diving equal with the bag. If he's back a couple feet, it's probably an easier play. But Ryan McCormick has had a really strong game out of the leadoff spot. This is a big question mark for me. He's now, 2 for 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored and
2
an
for
RBI.
3, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored, reached on an error and a walk. He's reached 4 of his 5 trips, and that's what you want from your leadoff hitters. This is fouled back into the netting by Kyle Boudris. Boudris is 1 for 3, scored twice, walked his last plate appearance. He's reached 4 or 5 times. The one time he didn't reach was a sacrifice fly to score a run in the 6th. So you got to feel good getting that production out of the leadoff spot. It's an on-base percentage of 800. Count is 1-1 to Boudris.
And it just proves that this Beacons team has the depth. Jack Harrington was in the lineup today. He's played really well behind the plate. I think he has at least 1 hit, or has at least reached on 1 occasion. UMass Boston missing a guy in Eddie Riley who's played great defense, who has been leading off for the Beacons, one of their better hitters for about the last 25, 30 games, and they've put up 9 runs on 9 hits. Not too shabby, although, again, another unearned run. That's now 8 of them on the day against Western New England's defense.
This one's cracked into left field, heading back, sizing it up, and making the catch is LaCroix for out number 2. McCormick retreats to second.
Yeah, just caught it off the end of the bat a little bit. Boudris didn't get all of that one. Otherwise, it might have one-hopped the wall. And, Alex, I'm just going to keep saying it. Beacons need to add another run, but this is the guy who had the big at-bat of the game. If we can check out that highlight right now, the homer from Murphy gave the Beacons the lead and really was the turning point. Beacons have been fighting to get back into the game, and that put them over the top, and Western New England hasn't bounced back since.
Yeah, 3-run home run over the left field wall in the 6th inning. That's the difference right now, is diving back in safely as McCormick at the time made it an 8-7 game. That was 3 of the runs in a 4-run inning.
5-run inning.
5-run inning, pardon me. 5-run inning.
You see it here, just a towering shot. And you might actually see the ball there. Yeah, just over the fence.
And that one runs in and hits him, got him in the back. So Murphy will not get another chance, at least here, to hit one out. He will head to first, so it's runners on first and second for Chris Fowler. Fowler's walked twice. He's been hit by a pitch, and he's struck out. He does, with all those numbers, have an RBI. Walked with the bases loaded back in the 3rd.
And this is a difficult situation. Yes, lefty versus lefty, but Fowler's a guy who actually hits lefties pretty well. He's just trying to put a ball down the line right now and score 1 or 2 more runs.
First pitch is in there for a strike. After Fowler, if anybody reaches, it will be Nick Herzog.
I think I've liked Fowler's approach at the plate more than anyone else today. He's been very patient, is willing to hit behind in counts, and I think he has at least 1 strikeout, but has done a really nice job sitting on his pitches. He was waiting on that fastball. He just didn't catch up to it, but hasn't been swinging at pitches just to swing. He's been looking for specific pitches in specific spots.
Full count in the 1st, full count in the 3rd, 2-2 in the 5th, and then he got hit by a pitch, the first one he saw in the 6th. But most of his at-bats, 3 of his 4 at-bats have been at least 5 pitches. He takes that one for a ball. It's the 3rd pitch of this at-bat. Count goes to 1-2.
And that's big in postseason play when you're trying to really get deep into opposing teams' bullpens and avoid starters. That's a good way to do it.
Big swing and a miss on the fastball, and Fowler's retired for the 2nd out. It is his 2nd strikeout of the game.
There's the old broadcaster's curse again. I think I've talked about Fowler's approach. I've done it 2 or 3 times. I did it to Hughie, now to Fowler. And going back to Murphy with that big go-ahead home run, that was his first home run since April the 12th against Babson. So good to see him finally break out for home run number 11 on the year.
So it's Herzog with 2 outs. He's going to try to put a bunt down, and did he get a piece of that straight down, or was that off the catcher's? That must have been off the catcher's mitt, because up to 3rd goes McCormick. Murphy stays at 1st.
So I guess it's a pass ball in that situation. I don't think it bounced up there.
Well, they're going to call it pass ball. I thought he got a piece of it with the attempted bunt. It's ball 1.
Well, sometimes that attempted bunt is just to get in the way of the catcher's eyes.
Herzog is 1 for 4. He did drive in a run on a double play ball in the 3rd. And has to scoot out of the way of this one. That's ball 2. If Herzog can reach Anthony Cesare, would get a chance. He's really the only beacon to this point he is the only beacon that has yet to reach base, as I quickly scan the scorecard here. He is 0 for 4. He's grounded out twice, flown out, and struck out. The 2-0 in there for a strike. Herzog, in addition to his base hit and his run driven in, made a great diving catch out in right field. That was back in the second inning, or 2 days ago, if you check your calendar. Outside for a ball.
Oh, you didn't have plans tonight, did you?
Just this.
Okay, good.
Gonna watch the Bruins, but they've lost, so it happens. You can't plan things within like 12 hours of a baseball game. You never know. Here's the 3-1. Ball 4. So 2 hits, walk, and a hit batter in the inning.
And if the Beacons score any more runs in this inning, they will still be unearned. UMass Boston has a chance if they can. They have 8 right now. If they get a 2-run single here.
Are they? Where was the error?
The throwing error.
Oh, that's right.
Well, the throwing. So I'm wrong. You're 100% right. They had the mental error over at first base that should have been an out. So those are still going to be earned runs. So totally disregard that. But 8 unearned.
I didn't mean to call you. I thought I missed one.
No, you're right. I mean, I'm glad the people at home aren't being lied to. We're not.
If you're keeping book at home, I hope you're using a pencil, not a pen.
But yeah, I mean, it's just so frustrating. Danny Brown gets a pinch hit at bat here for Cesare. He's a very good defensive player. We'll get a rare bat with Cesare struggling. A chance for UMass Boston to capitalize on yet another mistake. Not an actual error, but a mental mistake that extended this inning and allowed 1 run to already score.
And you mentioned a rare at-bat for Danny Brown. This is his first 12th at-bat of the year. He's hitting .333. 7th at-bat. I'm still looking at so many numbers. 7th at-bat. This is the 12th game he's entered.
Yeah, really good defensive outfielder. Also a very good pinch runner. Guy who missed the first couple weeks of the season after being hurt during practice.
One's outside for ball. Runners will stay where they are. The bases are full of Beacons. It is Herzog on first, Murphy on second, McCormick on third. Hughie's already reached this inning and scored. 2-2 count, 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th, Beacons looking to add on to a 2-run lead. Brown cranks one foul.
Danny's a guy who played a lot as a freshman and played in a lot of different spots. A bit of a utility guy. Capable of playing the outfield, also started at second base when the Beacons were trying to find an everyday second baseman. A guy who could do a little bit of everything. Was a really, really strong high school quarterback up in New Hampshire.
Sophomore transfer from UMass. Amherst says Brown is sent down looking strike 3, so the Beacons leave him loaded. They've not had good luck with the bases loaded tonight, but it may not matter as we make the turn for home in Boston. It is UMass Boston 9. Western New England 7 on the Beacon Broadcast Network.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
The Beacons will go to their closer, Bobby Tramendozzi, in the top of the 9th, looking to close out a 2-run game. The junior from Peabody, Massachusetts, on the year, has an ERA of .66. This is his 17th appearance, all out of the bullpen. He is 4-0 with 8 saves in 27 1/3 innings. He's allowed 15 hits, just 2 earned runs. Struck out 22, walked just 5. Opponents are hitting 161 against him. He will be the 7th pitcher of the night for the Beacons as he replaces Alex Carasoto. I believe our 14th pitcher of the night total.
I think we're 13.
I got 7 and 7.
Oh, no, you're right. Pescara and then Carasoto. Interesting note on Trey Mendoza. He's given up just those 2 earned runs. He gave up an earned run in 2 innings against Spalding on March the 15th. He didn't give up his next earned run until Monday. April the 30th, gave up an earned run in the bottom of the 9th. Ended up getting the win instead. He has just been so good this year. Already the program record holder for career appearances as a pitcher, career saves in a single season. And this might be his best season. Obviously, there's still a lot of baseball left to be played if UMass Boston can go as deep as they hope. But this has just been a tremendous showing after Bobby really struggled last year and late in the year, just looked a little bit taxed. He's come out this year trying to prove that the end of last year was a fluke and that he really is one of the premier pitchers in all of Division III.
You'll have to face the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Leparco at the plate, then LeCare and Casella. This one's hitting a left field. Brown giving chase, comes in a bit and makes the catch for out number 1.
And that's the thing. I think Cesare makes that play, but you have more confidence when you have a guy who's an outfielder by trade. Cesare was I don't even know what position Cesare played prior to college because he was only a DH for UMass Boston until they decided to make the change into left field. But Brown is a center fielder, and the Beacons right now have 3 guys in the outfield who are capable of playing center field. Gives you a lot of confidence if you're a Beacons reliever coming in with the lead.
LeCare takes a first pitch ball. The outfield is playing him to pull. The center fielder for Shino is playing to the right of the 379 marker in center. And out in right, Herzog has shaded away from the line as well. Infield playing straight away but deep. Count goes to 1-1.
And I like the fact that Trey Mendoza is just filling up the strike zone with a 2-run lead. Don't even worry about the base runners. Throw strikes, trust your defense, and try to make this a quick one. I'm sure Bobby was frustrated when Endicott was able to score a run with 2 outs, ending that long scoreless streak.
Here's the 2-1. Fouled straight down.
And what makes him so difficult to hit is that slider. Such great movement, really difficult to hit, and he pitches off of the slider. He's got a pretty good fastball, and his other pitches are really just setting up the slider so that you can't just sit on that one pitch.
Here's the 2-2. Away for a ball, try to get him to chase. Count goes full.
One thing Trey Mendoza's done a really nice job of this year, just 5 walks in 27 1/3 innings. Does not give up a lot of free passes. Also has held opponents to a 161 opposing batting average.
The payoff pitch. Low ball 4.
Should just keep my mouth shut. I think that I've
Come on, Seth.
I've committed the broadcaster's curse more than anyone. My partner in crime to my left, Alyssa Fugel, is giving me a little bit of flack, but then again, she was the one who said that we were going to go to extra innings against Southern Maine, and I'll never let her live that one down, as that game was flying, and then we ended up going 11 innings. So Alyssa Fugel's the one person in this press box who's not allowed to give flack.
New batter will be Joe Casella. Casella is 1 for 4. He doubled back in the 5th. He has flown out 3 times. And that pitch is in there for a strike. They've done a good job with Casella, who is an excellent hitter. He came into this one hitting .368, second only to Alex Leparco, who they've done a good job on as well. He is 1 for 5. He came in hitting .398. Swing and a miss at that one, and Trey Mendoza ahead 0-2. We'll see if he tries to give him to chase one away or goes right at him here.
Well, Casella, the first time these two teams met, had one of the 3 hits for Western New England, 1 for 4 with a walk. Trey Mendoza earned a win the first time around, trying to pick up the save this time. He went an inning and 2/3, allowed a hit, and struck out 1 against Western New England back in April.
The 0-2 gets by Harrington. Runner's going to get up to second. A wide turn from LeCare before he retreats.
I mean, Trey Mendoza cares about that run because of his ERA, but realistically, the focus should be on the batter at this point. With a 2-run advantage, you only want to get focus on the outs rather than that possible single run on the base pass.
Beacons trading out for a run here for sure. Tramandosi looks back to second. The 1-2 pitch. Chopped foul.
Just got a piece of that one. Tramandosi looks really calm right now. Guy who has been brought in all kinds of situations. We've seen him come in conference games with a couple runners on and get double plays. He's just been so good and so calm as a junior. He's really seen it all throughout his first 3 years.
The 1-2 fouled off again into the Beacon dugout. It's definitely gotten a little cooler out.
Well, we have air conditioning on behind us, so that probably doesn't help.
I see players starting to throw on some sweatshirts.
Very astute.
We hit the top of the 11 o'clock hour here in Boston. The 1-2 pitch is low for a ball.
And the funny part about today is because we were testing out the center field camera about 10 a.m. this morning, I think I've spent more time here at Monin Park than anywhere else today.
It's a 3.5-hour game right now. And considering we started half an hour late. And like you said, a long day at the ballpark. This is up and away. I'm not going to count them all up because by the time I did, the game might be over. A lot of full counts today. Both teams.
Yes, that is one stat that we can't quickly pull up for you.
I can tell you 3 of the last 4 hitters going back to last inning have had full counts, including the last 2. As this is grounded foul again. Remember, we had the 11 pitch at bat earlier in this game by, I believe it was Rosenblatt.
Yeah,
it was.
It was definitely Rosenblatt because the 8th, 9th, and 10th pitches, I was thinking of Rosenkrantz and Gilderstein. That's what I was thinking of Shakespeare because Rosenblatt was reminding me of Rosenkrantz.
Quite the scholar.
It was a long at bat.
The payoff pitch. Lined into center field for Shino. Right to him. Doesn't have to move much. And even though he dropped on the transfer, he had it long enough. That's out number 2.
Yeah, well, when you talk about a long game, not only a lot of full counts, we've had 14 walks issued, 7 for both teams. So that's definitely going to be a talking point from both coaches with their teams afterwards. You can't afford to issue this many free passes come tournament time because it's the easiest way to generate runs. And a lot of those walks have led to runs in today's game.
Western New England down to their last out. First pitch is away for a ball. It's Ben LaCroix. Boy, they'd like to get LaCroix. Otherwise, you got to deal with Rosenblatt and Nussbaum again. LaCroix is 0 for 3. Walked his last time up. That was in the 7th. Here's the 1-0. Fouled back 1-1. Western New England needs 2 to extend it. Tying run at the plate. Top of the 9th, Beacons trailed at 1 point, 7-1. They have scored 8 straight runs.
Beacons are playing really deep all the way around, trying to keep nothing from getting over their heads. They're gonna let a ball drop in front of them rather than give up a double or a triple. Herzog and Brown are both just shy of the warning track, and Brashino shielded a little bit towards that center field triangle, trying to keep a ball from getting out there.
The 2-1. That's in there for a strike, and Tramandosi 1 away. Beacons trying to wrap up the non-conference portion of their schedule, at least what they hope is the regular season non-conference portion of their schedule, with a win. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Popped him up. That one will get out of play. Just over the fence.
Yeah, Kyle Boudreaux would have needed Inspector Gadget, Go-Go Gadget arms there to get that one.
Loving the 90s references tonight.
Yeah, you know, the longer I spend time here at the baseball park, the more obscure things I'm going to talk about.
I am right there with you. 2-2 count, 2 outs, runner on second. That is Leclerc. Tramandosi looks in. Big side, comes to the plate. He struck him out, and the Beacons come back from down 7-1 to pick up the 9-7 win. An impressive effort from UMass Boston and a big regional win.
A huge one. And honestly, a great show of the Beacons' perseverance and grit. This game easily could have gotten away from UMass Boston. And at one point, I think you and I both thought it was going to get away from UMass Boston. But the bullpen pitched extremely well. Aruda went 2 2/3 innings. The bullpen goes 6 1/3 innings, doesn't give up a run. The defense is great behind UMass Boston, with the exception of that one ball that dropped because the Beacons outfitters lost it in the lights. They played really well behind all the different pitchers. And the Beacons didn't hit all that well despite the 9 runs, but they took advantage of some miscues, 8 unearned runs, and Dave Murphy, the big 2-run homer, you need your big bats to come through, and that was a situation where they did, as Murphy hit his first home run in 3 weeks, and it ended up being the game winner.
All right, so let's see if we can figure this out here. Western New England scored in the top of the first. Beacons answered. It was 1-1 after 1. Western New England, they got 2 in the second and 4 in the third. They led 7-1. They would not score again. Nobody would score again until the bottom of the 6th when the Beacons put up a 5-spot, keyed by that 3-run home run by Dave Murphy. And then the Beacons added 1 in the bottom of the 8th for the final score of 9-7. Multiple hits. Ryan McCormick went 2 for 3. Dave Murphy went 2 for 3. Charlie Hughey went 2 for 4. RBIs from McCormick. He had a pair. Dave Murphy had 3 on the home run. Chris Fowler had 1. Charlie Hughey had 1. In terms of pitching, Mike Doherty gets the win. He went an inning and 2/3 of no-hit ball. Struck out 2, did not allow a walk. Bobby Tramandozzi gets the save. Meanwhile, the loss will go to Krasovich. He went 1/3 of an inning, allowed 2 runs. Neither was earned. And the 1 hit, that was the 3-run home run. So what's next for the Beacons? They're kind of big series this weekend, Seth.
An absolutely huge one. The Beacons, we won't show it to you on screen, but Beacons have 2 at Rhode Island College. There are 4 possible scenarios between UMass Boston's doubleheader and Southern Maine's doubleheader. The Beacons will be the number 1 seed in 2 of the scenarios for sure. In a 3rd scenario, it would go to a coin flip. In a 4th scenario, if they get swept, Southern Maine sweeps, then they end up as the 2 seed. So a lot to play for. We'll be here at noon and 3, the 2 of us. Hopefully you enjoy this tonight, because there's going to be 6 more hours of us, potentially more, on Friday. It's Senior Day. The Beacons will honor one of the most successful classes in program history in terms of wins, well over 100 over their 4 years, and a chance for the Beacons to celebrate their 2nd Little East Conference regular season title in program history and in the past 3 seasons if they can pull it off on Friday.
I'll just say, if you're going to watch that game, brush up on your mid-2000s Nick references.
I don't think I have many more Nickelodeon references.
Inspector Gadget was a good one. That was. That's it for us.
Yeah, got to give a shout-out to our production crew. Despite the fact that it was nice, it was still a long one.
So Seth did a fantastic job producing, and, of course, on caller tonight, Rachel Maslak and Alyssa Fugel. Did I get it right? I know I got it wrong last time. I didn't.
Fugel.
Alyssa Fugel and Rachel Maslak pushing all the buttons. Rachel on replay as well. Aline Shee, Bree Colucci, Cassie Murphy, and Anthony Searles was all the way out in center field tonight on the camera. My name is Alex Barth. The final score one more time from Monon Park. UMass Boston comes back from down 7-1. They win it 9-7. This has been a presentation of the Beacon Broadcast Network. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you on